There we go, Buttons. We didn't realize we were late. I am so sorry to keep you waiting. Happy Friday night. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. And I'm Buttons. How cute is that face? I mean, honest to God, is this an animal that needs to go to the groomer or what? Happy Friday night, everybody. You made it. Here we are. It was not an easy week, not here anyway. And he's watching all the notifications pop up. Buttons, let's say hi to all our buddies. What do you think who are here? And then we are going to be starting gallery night. Isn't it our favorite night of the month when we set? Do you want to get down? Do you want to get down, Rascal?
Oh, does my breath stink?
Yes, it completely stinks. Um, it's our favorite night of the year of the month. Luckily, we do this every month. There he goes. And we celebrate each other's amazing work, the projects that we're doing, the things that we're struggling with, things we need answers on, things we need a critique on, things we just want to show so that the rest of us can say, wow, look at that. You really got something going on there. Inspiration, right? That's what tonight is all about. Let me switch out my glasses. Let's see. All righties. All right, let me see who's here and say my hellos before we get some traction. We have a lot of pieces in the show tonight. Crescent Moon Pie, great to see you. Hello, everybody. It is only 3:30 in Illinois. You're too early, but if I miss the show later, just thinking that. Thank you so much. Well, it is early there, so if you come back to us later, thank you so much for logging on and saying you're there. We'll miss you, but we know it's an odd time of the day there. It's tough with the different time zones, isn't it? Because it's not, I mean, Gail's probably on in Australia. We've got some buddies on. Maybe Andrea's on in the UK. There's buddies who log on regularly in lots of different time zones. I keep thinking, and we thought about this years ago, about the possibility of sometimes doing shows that were in completely different times so that different people could join live. I kind of forgot that I thought that was a great idea. I still do think that's a great idea. I think at some point I should run a show for me, like 10 p.m. at night. And I am not a night owl. That is the only thing. But it would still be lots of fun to see if different people were logged in different time zones. Melissa, great to see you. Ooh, gingerbread and coffee. Gallery night. Thank you so much. Gallery night perfection. I just saw something online. It must be one of the only positive interactions I've had on Facebook this week. Somebody was making gingerbread. Yes, that's what it was. It was a video of someone in period costume talking to someone who was, just contemporary, like a tourist, and they were making gingerbread. And it was I only watched it for a minute, and I thought, ooh, that looks fattening, but also so good. It was just so much. What is it, like molasses or honey or something? Seemed to be the main ingredient. It was so cool. It must have been like an historical recipe for gingerbread. But oh, Melissa, that sounds so good. Pam, great to see you. Is it cold there in upstate South Carolina? So you're gonna make yourself a nice cup of coffee before gallery night. Happy New Year to you too. Coffee sounds great on these cold nights. I hope that you all are having like a sort of an uptick in temperatures over the weekend. We were above freezing today, which was a very nice change. And I think over the weekend we might be above freezing, and that will be nice because I am trying to clear out my studio space. Ah, yeah. Sage Gardens and Art Studio. Good to see you. You've got rotini and homemade bread. Oh, that sounds good. I love homemade bread. That's got to be one of my future things, making pasta from scratch and making homemade bread. Those are two luxury things. Once the dieting stops, and I'm not even dieting, I'm just trying to change what I eat, and I'm trying to program myself in such a way that when I, like word association, like gingerbread, yes, yum, carrots, no thanks, celery, no thanks. I'm trying to reprogram myself so that when like there's a plate of carrots in front of me or whatever, or everyone's having something nice, and then I think to myself like, oh, I've got my grapes. Right now it's not working. It's not working at all. I feel very very jilted every time someone has something nice, even cyber nice over here. Becky, great to see you. Good evening to you too. Nice cup of coffee there. Yeah, it sounds like a great idea for Pam. Yep, some chilly winter nights here, but yeah, I mean, can you believe we're getting to the end of January at this point? Melanie, great to see you in Washington trying to get over, oh God, pneumonia. Um, I am am so sorry. I hope that you're feeling all right. I am so sorry. I hope that you're at the end of getting over it, because that's not messing around, is it? That's something that really can wipe you out. Joe, great to see you in Australia. Welcome. It's very warm there. You're having the opposite weather. Oh, I am jealous. Sage Gardens and Art Studio. So sorry. I know. What a bad way to start the year. And the congestion, right? There's so many things happening right now that are so strange. I can't seem to get like this weird quality out of my voice. I put on music in the car and I try to sing along, and I'm like, gosh, it doesn't sound right. Something is still wrong with my voice, and it must be whatever, right? And I feel like this happened last year, but then I forgot, and then it was okay, and now it's back. And I think a lot of people are having those colds and symptoms that just hang on for a really long time. I'm so sorry. April, great to see you. Happy cocktail night in Illinois. Yeah, beautiful cover photo from Linda Shultis-Hoffman. We will be there probably in the middle of the show. I'll show you some of her work, but we've seen it before. She's doing such different work lately than she did like last year or the year before. Um, it's just so exciting for me. I absolutely remember the work that you all do. I really do. If you're thinking that's not possible, she can't. I do. I absolutely do. I have strong associations, particularly people who I see again and again. I have strong associations with your name when I see work come up. And it is easy to tell or get a feel for when you're moving into a different kind of era of your work, or you become interested in something different. It is noticeable, and I do notice. Yeah, I have that lucky sort of memory at this moment. Cheryl, great to see you on Cape Cod. Cheers with coffee. Uh, Cheers with coffee. Anxious to see everyone's beautiful work. Oh, I know it. I didn't have that many entries for tonight, and then I got a lot. So I think we've got a good full show. Pam, sorry to hear about your illness, Melanie. I know it, right? Catherine, hello to you too. You haven't been here since 2020. Catherine, really? Gosh, that's weird. I guess it's only been a couple of shows since 2020. Happy New Year, my love. It's great to see you. Janice, great to see you. I think I have something from you in the show tonight. Very happy to see you. Yes, in Pepperell, Mass. Great to see you. Welcome. Pam says, I love the rug displayed. It's so cute. Yep, it is so cute. I haven't read the text for that yet, as I haven't read the text for anything that you all have sent me. I like to keep the text so we can read it together and it seems more immediate, which means I do some paraphrasing sometimes, but I think it's just more fun that way. And let's see. It is a beautiful rug. Just catching up on your thread. Oh, Ryan, you've got your hard seltzer and vinyl records. You do it in style, right? You have such a vintage style. Can't wait to see everyone's work. Great to see you. Peace and love to you too. And Dave. Oh my God. Holy mackerel. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I got through all of those without. I am so sorry, everybody. It's just what was I like? Was I like a mime for all of that time, just miming it up? I am so sorry. Thank you. I always forget to check the bottom of the thing, but then again, I don't expect my volume to be reset, but it was all the way down. I'm so sorry. I hope you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? Dave says, hello, everyone. I hope you're well. Hamburger pie. Hamburger pie! Oh, my God. Hard cider. Cheers, my dears. It's great to see you. Okay. Yep, got the audio up. Hopefully I'm not blasting you out now. Okay, let's see. Linda, welcome. Jessica, yep, Thank you all for telling me. I am so sorry. The thread comes up slow. All right. Black threads. Kelly, great to see you. Happy date night. It's our date night tonight. Yep. And you wrote it too. It's date night for us. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's a cute one. I got at a fair last year. I wish I would have made it. Probably wouldn't be difficult to make, right? Because it's just crocheted across and then it's done like the grannies around the sides, right? Mom, I think you got this for me when we did the Big E thing at that Christmas festival. Gail, good to see you. Barbara, good to see you. Funny to hear you fine on the phone, but not on TV. No, my volume was way down. It definitely got reset. See, I never touched that button. I never touch that. I don't touch any of the buttons. I just load photos on a different page, so it drives me nuts when everything gets reset. It's like it does a default. I'm so sorry. Joyce, great to see you in Pennsylvania. Welcome back. All right, you all are good now, right? I'm making my way down. Let me make my way. Lisa, good to see you. Happy Friday night. Sharon, happy Friday night in Eagle Bridge. Great to see you. All right, nice and loud. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, now I'm hot. The reason I put the shawl on, I'm sitting right next to the dang radiator, was because it was so cold. Okay, sounds great now. Excellent. I am so sorry about that. I've got to put a damn sticky note on the computer to say, just check everything. It's so irritating when levels change. Diane, great to see you. Happy Friday night. Happy Friday night, everybody. Mark, great to Susan, great to see you. Great to see you. Something of yours is in the show too. I have some beautiful work in the show tonight, so we'll get going. I'm trying to think if there's anything that was really pressing that I was supposed to say. I should have put them into the show. I put up the Casswell carpet set of colors. And it is called the Colors of Castleton. And I know that you will know, but I'm happy that I called it the Colors of Castleton. But not everybody gets it right away, because we've been talking about this on the show. Remember, Castleton, Vermont is the town where the Casswell carpet was made. And I am really angling to get our rug show in the Historical Society at Castleton. So we're waiting for that board meeting to happen to hear back on the likelihood of that. But Castleton, Vermont is where the rug was made. So I like the name, The Colors of Castleton. A bit mysterious and different. So those colors are out. You can order those now. I sent some of the sets out. More of the sets are going to be on their way. I'll be doing more dyeing over the weekend for sure. I think I'm up to date with sending out all of the blocks that people have ordered for the Casswell carpet. Come on in and get some more as you finish them as well. I think some are already, Jessica. Oh my gosh, you are so fast in the show tonight. Another thing I wanted to tell you, remember how I was saying that I was getting messages after the fact, after everything was done and dusted, that Laura Pierce had done a show, had gone to solder with a rug challenge of the Casswell carpet like a decade ago. And I did not know that. I was not hooking then. I did not know that. A bunch of people wrote to tell me. And I wrote to her to say, listen, I hope there's no hard feelings. I didn't realize that you did a show and a challenge on the Casswell carpet. But now that I've planned it and people are excited, and I'm excited too because I didn't catch it the first time around. I explained what we were doing, and she wrote back this afternoon and said she's very happy that the mystery solved because a lot of people are pulling up her site. She's getting lots of hits on it. And she said, well, that mystery solved. Now I know what's going on there. She was very, very nice. She said she's very excited to see all of your Casswell carpet blocks. So she's everybody said she is as nice as she can be. So I mean, obviously we're all entitled to do our blocks of things that have been out of copyright and in the public domain for over 100 years are fair game. But still, I wanted to just acknowledge that I know that she did it. I just didn't when I planned it. But I'm still very happy that this is the challenge that we're doing. There's a lot of excitement surrounding this project. This is our group project for 2025. And I hope that you jump in and join us. There's a separate Facebook page that Jeannie Coates made that I think is called Casswell Carpet something with 2025. So you'll find it. And it's linked to the Ribbon Candy Hooking, but the Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club Facebook group, our group. So you'll see that there. So that'll be a lot of fun. She also said that she still has some copies. Remember, there was a book that came out with her exhibit, and it hasn't been for sale for a long time. She said she still has a few copies. So I wrote back and said, well, I would definitely like to buy a copy because I would like to do it in a show so everybody can see those rugs. But I'd also like to know how many copies there are, because as soon as we do a show, I know some of you will love having a copy of that book. So I'm going to get the number for us so we have a feel for, like, does she have 5 copies of the book or does she have like 50 copies of the book? So hopefully we can look at that together and enjoy the last sort of iteration of the celebration of Casswell carpet blocks. We'll do that soon. Yep, Barbara's right. The Casswell carpet is worth revisiting every 10 years. It is such an epic, famous, I mean, it is one of the most famous textiles, like certainly one of the most famous American textiles ever. Let's see. Wendy, good to see you. Good evening. Great to see you. Susan, you are there in Fitchburg, Mass, where my dad was from. Say hello to the Rollstone Boulder for us. Wish I could say that more often. There's not a lot of chances to say that. Okay, let's jump in and oh, Heather, great to see you. Happy New Year. Oh, awesome. Okay, lots of buddies on tonight. All right, let's come over to gallery night and let's start looking at some of your work. I am starting out here with Valerie. Valerie Tillman, you did a beautiful tree skirt. And you wrote to me, Deanna, you and the Ribbon Candy Hooking Facebook family are such an awesome group. Thank you, Valerie. Before Christmas, I realized this project wasn't going to be finished in time and I was going to run out of background. Wah wah, that is a classic, isn't it? I didn't want it to languish in the UFO pile. With encouragement from the group, I dug around in my stash and added other dark blues. I didn't use a pattern, but I did cut out snowflakes from paper in several sizes. Thanks again, Val. Isn't that fun? Now, two things going on here, right? This is so much in the spirit of this craft that I just can't believe it. So the idea, right? Because we have all been there, right? The idea of running out of your color, right, is something that we are all familiar with. Playing chicken with your wool supply. God, I mean, it's for me, it's all the time. It's like I was just doing a piece for Magpie Times the other morning. I think it was yesterday morning, and the whole time I was doing it, I realized that my neck hurt, like the back of my neck, because I was so tense from leaning over, frozen, pulling up loops, because I was so worried. It was like a race against time. Like somehow my brain was saying, if you hook faster, you won't run out of the loops. Do you know that one? And I had gotten so stiff that I needed like a heating pad. I mean, it was ridiculous. We all do this. The question is, when you are running out of your color, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to A, cry yourself to sleep? Let's eliminate that one. Let's not do that one. B, look for more material, order more. These are all under B. Go on a hunt, for all of the big rug hooking suppliers on eBay, looking for a similar color. I've done that one too. Dye your own color. Or, I think the best of all, to do just what Valerie did and to maybe pull some of the dark out of some areas. What, couple strips here, couple strips there. I'm not talking about ripping out huge, like legions of backing, but pulling a little bit out here and there. You can lighten it up in some places and move it to other places, and then just be at peace with another color, right? Another color or colors plural, finding other colors that are similar. Just you're gonna find that you love it, and it has that, I promise, it has that great antique look. Sirkin, welcome. Welcome. Happy Friday night. It's going to have that wonderful antique look, right? Because that's what people had to do back in the day. They had to make it work. And that it works. It works great. I love that angle. And I also love the fact, Valerie, that you cut out snowflakes because you did an Edward Sands Frost. You cut out stencils and you put them down and you ended up with all of these beautiful shapes. It really looks like snowflakes falling through the sky, Joseph Bentley style, right? The guy from Woodstock, Vermont, the first person to look at snowflakes under a microscope and realize that each one is unique and different. No two alike. Absolutely beautiful, my mom says. Such a lovely tree skirt to make your Christmas special. So true. And Pam says, Valerie, you pulled this off like it was meant to be. Hooked that way. I would have never known. I agree, Pam. It's such an expert job. And, just don't forget, one of the things about this craft that is going to help you through is confidence, right? It's confidence. You're never going to have all the supplies that you want, right? Even I don't have the supplies I want. I go in other, like when I went to Haley's the other day at Loop by Loop, I mean, I bought tons of stuff. I mean, why would I do that? I love Haley and I love her stuff because it's different. We always want more stuff, right? There's never enough stuff. But at the end of the day, you can make things work beautifully. And it's good to have the confidence to remind yourself that whatever befalls you during the course of a project, you can absolutely bounce back, right? Think of what your options are. And if they are all repellent to you, just pick the least repellent and just dig in, right? That's just how you get it done. Marty, great to see you. Casswell colors are beautiful. Will you be making more? Oh, are they out of stock right now? They might be out of stock already. I definitely will make more. I'll be making them absolutely the whole time that we are running the Casswell Carpet Challenge. So absolutely yes. Um, and Barbara says, I'd be digging up a sapling now and to display under a winter tree. Absolutely beautiful. It was such a beautiful piece. And great reminder about making it work when you have run out of your color. Great reminder about making your own pattern, using stencils, right? Being brave, feeling confident, and just doing it. Valerie, this is so beautiful. I love winter blues, and this has such a decorative, almost Victorian, kind of lacy feel. The snowflakes are so romantic. They remind me of doilies, right? They're so lacy and filigree and beautiful, little whispers of wind running through. It is an heirloom for all of time. It is absolutely beautiful. And you avoided the UFO pile, which is the unfinished objects pile. Great job, Valerie. It's absolutely beautiful. Jessica, you are such a fireball. You are such a fireball. I love you. Jessica says, hello. With the holidays and a family vacation, I haven't been hooking as much as I usually do, but I have finished a couple small rugs for Magpie and my first block of the Casswell carpet. See, Jessica, that sounds like a lot. Even to me, that sounds like a whopping lot. I found a bunch of wool yarn at the thrift store. Oh, hooray for that, a while back, and plan to use it for this project. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's beautiful work. Take care. So there's going to be a part 2 to this. So I got this maybe a few days ago, a week ago, something like this, and this is absolutely beautiful. This is one of the blocks. I love how it's done. It's different colors, a departure from the traditional palette. It's absolutely up for grabs, right? However color-wise you want to hook these blocks, it's fantastic. We want to see them. We want to see every kind of variety that you've got, every kind of variety that you can think of. I want to see all of it. We all do. This is so beautiful. It's like, it's got such a great primitive feel. And seeing one of the blocks that we have only ever seen in browns, right? Seeing it in this color palette is really exciting because it looks more like a primitive rug hooking piece, doesn't it? If you saw this, you wouldn't say, oh, that's one of the blocks from the Casswell carpet. You would say, what a beautiful primitive rug hooking piece. And it just goes to show how well this particular textile transfers to rug hooking. It's absolutely amazing. And Jessica, you went, and here's the yarn. That was your haul from the thrift store. That's a very good haul. Those are some really great colors because you've got the red and the blue for primary, and the rest of them are really offbeat colors. You've only got a couple of neutrals in there with the browns. Otherwise, they're kind of middle ground colors, unusual, really unusual ones. Like I'm thinking of the mauve and the grape and the sort of pistachio and the avocado green. They're not typical colors. It's a very good haul. And in the meantime, you really dug in. You got some more of these done. You said, we've had so many snow days with sub-zero temps this week. I had 4 kids ages 4 through 12 cooped up at home, so I needed the sanity breaks and I did a lot of hooking. Here are the first 3 blocks of my rug. My favorite so far is the seashell. And Jessica, you wrote, who knew? Oh, Joy, great to see you. Happy Friday. Isn't that funny? Because, I wasn't going to do the seashell, but Melanie asked for the seashell. And I don't know why I wasn't going to do it. It didn't immediately strike me. And then I did it. And as I was drawing it, I thought, it does remind me of sort of an antique kind of still life. When you think of paintings from like the 17th century, 18th century, even 19th century, there's lots of still lifes. And they often have seashells because seashell was like a mark of exotica. Someone traveled somewhere and picked up a beautiful seashell souvenir, and it would have been a real curiosity back in the day. And isn't it funny that the seashell is quite popular as a block in the Casswell carpet? No reason why it shouldn't be. Now, let me think. Hold on here. Vermont is totally landlocked, right? Vermont does not have any coastline. Yeah, Vermont is totally landlocked, isn't it? It's the only of the New England states that's totally landlocked, which doesn't mean that Zorua should not have had a seashell. Certainly, she should have had a seashell. But it is wonderful for us here now in 2025. This was made between the Casswell carpet was made between 1832 and 1835. Um, it is remarkable that we are enjoying the seashells so much so many years later. These are so beautiful, Jessica, and you are doing them in very different color palettes. I really love that. I love the initial chicken. He's got such a great primitive feel, kind of standing in front of an arrangement of flowers. The middle one, the two crossed doves. Now, we talked about the pattern of this when I brought out the collection, and I said this one has potential to be confusing. Well, it's not confusing. You see, Jessica did it here. They are crossed. They are the same color. There is a little bit of shading dropped in. It is absolutely enough shading for your eye to differentiate between the two birds, right? It's not a confusing lump of what not. It actually looks like a knot. It's absolutely beautiful. And Jessica, your flowers are really well done too. You're doing such great nuances with color. I love the warm sort of poppy reds, and then I love the cool kind of purpley blue and the cool greens. There's even a little bit of warm green, like a yellowy green in there, kind of a bronzy. Wonderful mixed color palette, dark, light, dull, bright. They're all here, right? Dark background, light birds, sort of some of the leaves are a more dull color, like the yellowy ones, and then the bright is the red. That is the poison. It's absolutely beautiful. And then your favorite, the seashell. The seashell is a great vehicle for doing stripies, isn't it? Because it does have stripes on it, like a tiger shell. I don't know if it's like a conch shell. I don't even know how to say that word, but it is a tiger variety because you know how some of them have spots and others have stripes. So it is a great vehicle to be able to drop in stripes and create patterning. And it's a curious block because it's the shell sitting there, and then there's a lot of sort of greenery sprigs with these kind of pom-pom flower tops. It looks to me like a fictional flower or maybe like a roadside weed, like a variation on a dandelion. But in the pattern and here, many of the sprigs at the root is not actually touching the main motif, the shell. And I thought that has potential to be frustrating, but when you see it done, it is not confusing. I meant confusing, not frustrating. It has potential to be both. You know, when we look at the Casswell carpet, for the most part, the blocks are all shades of brown, coral, pink, cream colors, and a tiny bit of indigo. When we see stuff in this color, in this color range, right, 3 different palettes in front of us now, it's really interesting and affirming to know that if you do the traditional palette, you know what you're going to get, right? Because the examples already exist in the original Casswell carpet. If you step outside or do kind of a hybrid mix of the traditional color palette and some different colors, it really is a sky's the limit, isn't it? I mean, you could really go with anything. And I have to say, these examples that Jessica has done so far, I think these are the first examples I've seen so far for this challenge. For me, at least, they're much clearer in terms of looking at them to make out the motif than the original Casswell carpet. Like they appeal to the eternal rug hooker in me because they're so colorful. So well done, Jessica. They are absolutely gorgeous. Gretti, you sent me something beautiful as well. You said, I just finished this pillow, my first venture using rug warp, yarn, and wool. I am critical of not having crisp lines, but I like the colors. I think if I had an outline with wool before yarn, the design would have been more symmetrical. I think I will stick with linen as my preferred backing. Going forward, it's easier on the hands too. Gretti, my friend, how are you up there in Canada? I really love this. Let me see. So you're using rug warp, which is the tightest of the traditional rug hooking backings. I'm using rug warp right now as well. It is tight and my hands are feeling it for sure. I am hooking something for Shannon Carter's book in rug warp, and I'm using a number 5 cut, and it's still very hard on my hands. And Gretti, I think I think you're still hooking, right? Because Mike, your husband, is the puncher, and I think you are the hooker. I get what you're saying about crisp lines, but I'm not sure that within this composition, I'm not sure that it matters. And the reason is this really strikes me as a decorative image, right? This doesn't strike me as, for example, a geometric. Is it more of a geometric than a landscape? Obviously, huge yes. But it strikes me more as a decorative motif than it does a full blast geometric. And when I look at decorative motifs, whether I'm looking at a paisley print or like a Moroccan tiles or whatever, I'm not really looking for perfection or crispness. I'm just looking to enjoy the pattern, right? To be hit full blast in the face with the pattern, the decoration, the color combination. I personally don't really look at decorative pieces the same way that I would look at something geometric and think, wow, it kind of went outside the line a little bit right there. It's interesting, but it does catch your eye. I don't think that this piece suffers from that at all. I completely agree with you. I think your color palette is fantastic. I think the fact that you have got some color shift in this piece is further negating the idea that it matters at all if your lines are perfectly crisp. You have got this beautiful buttery background with these marbly swirls, and that's creating a lot of energy, a lot of lightness and brightness. Within the green motifs, right, the diagonals, the corner motifs, you have got like a lighter kind of variegated color changing blue green in those, and that also creates instability. It's good to have instability in your work, right? As long as it's contained, as long if your work remains stable, and this certainly is stable, you can have areas of instability because it creates interest, it creates motion. It holds your eye a little bit. And this is for me what's happening here. So whether or not the lines are crisp doesn't really matter to me. I'm really enjoying the color palette. I can't think of any other piece that I've seen that has this color palette. You're using yellow with true kind of rose pink, the rosy rose pink in the center and on the corners, the tea rose color, which goes more toward blue on the sides, right? They're kind of Maltese cross, but the two on the side. And then you've got either black or very dark aubergine top and bottom. Very good dark for dark, light, dull, bright. And then the greens that in the center contain the more blue greens, right? Very evocative shapes, colors. It's a good mix for me of geometric shapes and more sort of fluid shapes, organic shapes. So don't beat yourself up over crispness, right? There is such a thing as being too crispy. That's for sure. Just checking my brain to think that's not a bad word, right? I gotta be careful about everything these days. I love it, Gretti. I love it. I think you did a great job. It looks beautiful. It makes a beautiful pillow. It's certainly an eye catcher in terms of the colors. I think it is really sharp. Dave agrees. Sharp looking cushion. Ha ha, Gretti. Ha ha. It is. It looks sharp. So forget about the crispy versus non crispy. It looks beautiful. It's a great piece, and I love it. Thanks for sending that in, Gretti. And Michelle. Michelle makes you feel happy, Gail, right? The colors. Yellow is one of those colors that will do that. There is a lot to be said for when you're choosing a color palette. If you are a technical person, you are probably always going to want to consult the color wheel and say, I just want to know what I'm doing for sure. I want to know that I'm doing this right? When you're a technical person, that's how you feel, and you have to honor that. Technical people are much more inclined to go to the color wheel and say, okay, what's the opposite? And okay, and make decisions based on facts, right? Facts that they can see. And then people who are more technical are more comfortable and confident proceeding with the project, based on the knowledge that it is color-wise technically correct, right? So people who are not that technical go more on feeling. And there is not a right way. There's not a right way or a wrong way. It's just they're two different ways. And there's lots of shades in the middle of I'm a little bit of both, or I vary between these two opposites from project to project. And when you are the kind of person who goes more on instinct and you're not going to pick up a color wheel, you really should think about using colors that you love, right? If you're not doing a full out thrifty project and just using up your snoodle noodles or your yarn or whatever, I think it's always a good thing to take out the colors that you like best, right? Particularly for pillow, because that's going to be, your eye is going to see that all the time, right? It's not something that you can pack up and go, oh God, enough of you. You're getting rolled up. A pillow you see all the time, and you want to like it. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to your favorite colors, right? Your favorite colors are going to make you happy. To a certain extent, we all do that, but I think the more technical of us kind of still gravitate toward their favorite colors, but pull back a little bit and try to balance those favorite colors with colors to offset them and pop them, because technical people are more worried about the technical success of the piece. So think about where you fall on the spectrum of, am I technical, am I not, am I something in the middle? And when you have a set of colors on your desk that you absolutely love those colors, even if you're thinking, oh, they're all blues and greens. Well, Monet only used blues and greens, right? He only used analogous colors. He didn't use complementary colors. Once in a blue moon, he did. Once in a blue-green moon, he did. Once in a blue-green-purple moon, he did. See, everything was analogous. So always, think about using the colors that you like best, and honoring yourself. You know what you like. You know what your taste is. You should go for it. Sage Gardens and Studio, I love that you find ways to see both sides of it. Thank you. I try to, because I try to speak to people who work in both ways, because both ways are right, right? Both ways are right. It's not my way or the highway with anything. Well, with some things, right? Like things to do with keeping house, for example. Don't get me started. Okay, so Michelle, my buddy Michelle Holler for a dollar. She wrote of this piece, bees do indeed bring signs of hope and life to humans. In 2014, when my mom had cancer and was soon to pass away, my dear friend told me about a band that she thought I would like. The band was called Blue October, and I also love this band. Through a series of events, the lead singer requested that I make him a pillow. A couple of years before, I made his mother a cross-stitch pillow with a bee for her birthday. So Michelle got to know the family. This is what I chose. It's Michelle Palmer's pattern with a thread kit. I hand spun the bow and hot glued it onto a pre-made velvet pillow form. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let's look at how this was done. Judy, great to see you. Welcome. Let's get a closer up view of this pillow. So this is absolutely beautiful. This looks like it is, this is mini punch, right? Did she say mini punch? I think this must be mini punch. It looks like it anyway. Absolutely beautiful. This should go into Magpie Times, right? Our Busy Bees issue coming up. Deadline February 1st. Let me know if you're having a problem with the deadline, but let's shoot for February 1st. It's a beautiful piece. Oh, you also love Blue October. Yeah, I listened to them for the first time a couple years ago, and I really got sucked in. I really loved the emotion that the lead, I don't know the lead singer's name, but that, I guess she made this pillow for him. I love the emotion. I love the bee, the patterning. I love the colors, right? This is a Michelle Palmer kit, so you know it's going to be good because she's always good. It is a very smart thing to remember. And I had this conversation with somebody this week. How can I make a pillow, right? Somebody wrote to me and said, when you're doing a pillow, do you have to like sew the envelope back, right, on the pillow so that it can be, you can remove the pillow and whatever, wash it, change it, whatever. But I said, no, you don't have to sew the envelope closure on the back of your pillow. You can just buy a pillow with an envelope closure, attach your hooked, mini punched piece to the top, and if it's big enough to cover the top, then just take the back off, unpick it with your seam ripper, unpick the back of the pillow, and just put your piece on top, right, if that's the right size. If we're talking about a smaller size like this smaller needle felted piece, then yes, it does make sense to just attach it onto a pillow that is pre-made. Why give yourself the grief and aggravation of making a pillow, right? We aren't necessarily pillow makers, we're rug makers, right? And tapestry makers. So this came out so beautifully, Michelle. I just love this piece. So Michelle sent that piece. That was a little while back, and then she sent this piece more recently. She said, "Hi, sweet lady and the gallery night crew. This is something I'm working on right now. I just wanted the simple sweetness of a springtime cross stitch. And she's saying again, my mom passed away. So she's thinking about this. Michelle is so dear and so sentimental and so emotional and just such a sweet, gentle person and such a beautiful woman to boot. She's thinking about her mom, right? Because it's coming on, it sounds like it's coming on an anniversary, the anniversary of her death. She said, my mom passed 10 years ago in March. I taught her to cross stitch, and this became one of her true loves in life. I told myself for 10 years before she passed that I wanted chickens. In the midst of her sickness and our then teen daughter's hospitalization, I got chickens. It was a wonderful decision for my sense of humor and sanity. They were endlessly entertaining, the chickens. Oh, I bet they were. I would love to have some chickens too. Y'all have a beautiful night, and please don't put off what will make you feel happier. Much love to all. God, isn't that sweet? And ain't that the truth? So this is what Michelle is working on now. Is that adorable or what? Collection Tra-la-la, Core from the heart of Paul or Paula Blanche. Paula. Absolutely adorable. What a fine piece. You know, I'm picturing Michelle because I just saw her at the book signing not that long ago. And I'm not picturing her with glasses. I bet her eyes still work. What? What? Is that a thing? Because I'm looking at the cross stitch and going, can she see the cross stitch? Oh gosh, I hope so, Michelle. I hope that your eyes are obviously better than mine. That is a gift, I'll tell you. So beautiful. You're working on a gorgeous piece. And I loved seeing the bee from a few years ago. They were both beautiful. Thank you so much. Pam, you sent in a great story. Let me just take, and a great project. Let me just take a quick sip. I'm so thirsty. I'm trying to think, what did I eat that made me so thirsty? I just had a salad. My mom made me the most beautiful salad. I went to the church today, our meeting house, and Hartford, it was a movie day for the art club, and I went. It was the Joni Mitchell documentary, and I love Joni Mitchell. I've always loved Joni Mitchell. I love her even more, and it was a great documentary. And Mom, don't you dare do this again. You are so crazy. She said she texted me last night, you know, because they have lunch before the movie and kind of chat for a while, and I brought my hooking and I was working on my hooking, my piece for Shannon. And she said, "You want me to bring you like a sandwich or something?" And I said, "Well, only if you're bringing one for yourself. Otherwise, you know, I'm fine." And she didn't bring anything for herself, but she brought me this incredible like gourmet chef salad with meat, cheese on the side, like beautiful salad in like a to-go container, and like a Tupperware. And I was the only idiot at the table who's sitting there with like oil and vinegar. She brought the oil and vinegar containers, salt and pepper mills, like 2 mills. It's like, Mom, you are so naughty. Don't take that much time to make stuff for me. I would eat like the sole of my shoe if I was hungry. Believe me, I'm an awful pig. I love the Blue October pillow. What a gorgeous pillow. It was absolutely beautiful. So pretty. Now, Pam, I love your storytelling, and tonight is no exception. You wrote, "Hi, Deanna. Hope these are not too late." No, you are way in time. I put stuff in the show that I got like 20 minutes before the show came on. It's all good. As long as I'm sitting here and I have time, I can do it. But days before, you're well in time. I have to admit at this point, they're not very interesting. Oh, come on. Don't start with that. Just a shape drawn on my backing and a photo of what is. Here, let me come to you first. I want to walk you. This is interesting. Don't listen to Pam. This is interesting. I did enjoy it, Mom. I finished it when I got home, too. She says, I brought a banana for myself. It's like, oh, man, you are too cute. Okay, so just a shape drawn on my backing and a photo of what is in part to come. I have finally gotten around to getting my rug drawn on the backing. Life gets in the way sometimes. Amen to that. Excited to get the design drawn in. I still have a few sketches I want to make before I draw it out on the backing. So I began Molly and You Know. This will be my first story rug. Really excited to make this to honor my dad's family. Molly was my great grandmother, and You Know was her dog. And You Know, this is so cute. You Know is spelled all one word, Youknow, all one word. You Know. That is so funny. I love that. They lived on a farm in Pocahontas, Tennessee, and grew cotton as their cash crop, and of course raised all of their own food as well. Molly had 4 children that I knew: my grandma, her twin sister, another sister, and a brother. Oh, God, you were lucky. You were lucky to know them all. We believe this photo was taken sometime during the 1920s. My father was a baby or toddler at around this time. Grandma Molly passed away at the age of 77 early in the 1930s. The size will be 24 by 30 inches, oval in shape. I'll be hooking with number 3 and number 6 wool strips and some homespun yarn. I will update on the Facebook page as I progress. Tommy did okay, so I'm going to show you the background for this so you can see the project is all shaped out. And Pam, it looks so beautiful. Tommy did some Photoshop work for me on the image and broke it down into some shapes. Ooh, Tommy did that one. I know the one you mean, that picture, that I think will be manageable for this rug. I'm not going for realism, but the design and the idea of an ancestor and the life she lived, and of course her beloved pet. I'll be colorizing it though. So let's look at this together, because this is not only a great story and something to look forward to, but it's a great how-to. And thank you to Tommy for helping with this too, because with the slides I'm about to show you, you will see that this is a difficult project, no doubt, right? I'm not going to lie to you, but it is not an impossible project by any means. So here is Molly, and and this is Tommy's work here. Oh, wait a minute, I don't want to do that. I want to do that. This is Tommy's work here. And you see how much that helps layering a filter on top of it so that we have some solid shapes, right? The shapes, the computer has simplified the shapes and created fields of like color and taken out a lot of the middle ground. So this is now manageable in terms of just filling in the shapes. It is still a complicated picture. Using what various computer programs, the computer can kind of dumb down an image to be very, very, very basic. Pam is, if you remember, super, super, super good. So this is not going to be a problem for Pam to execute. I have to admit, this would be a problem for me to execute. I'm not that good. This detail would still be tricky for me, but Pam, you are the master of doing a sort of watercolor style hooking. And you are going to hit the nail on the head with filling in all of these different regions in just the right value. The thing here is value, right? And one of the striking, there's many striking things about the photograph. One of the striking things is that, let's just start with the sort of social context and connotations. Molly is posing in a way that Victorian people would pose, right? This is not a Victorian era photo, but she was a Victorian era person. And if if this is the 1920s, then she's in her 60s or 70s at this point. This is the way that people posed, right? You don't get people smiling in a lot of photos at this time. It's a very stoic look, isn't it? It's really of its time. It's very, very moving. I love the shape of the photo. It's like a sepia photo, which is headed toward black and white, but will be, as Pam says, fully realized in color. The fact that she's wearing dark socks, shoes, / boots, and a dark cardigan is really helping. And a light skirt, right? Unexpected, but it's very helpful, because we're really getting a good feel for her posture, for her body, her physical body, for the way she holds herself, all of these indicators that will help to realize Molly, right, as a person more easily. If she was wearing a garment that really blended in with the background, or that was very light and hard to make out, some of the lines might be soft, meaning hard to pick out and hard to realize. So the fact that she's wearing a dark cardigan, we really get a good feel for her shape and what her little body looks like. So that's really helpful. The other thing about this photo, I love is just the ultimate companion here, just like waiting, by her side, waiting for the next instruction, doing his or her job, just being the faithful companion. Absolutely adorable dog. The thing that really strikes me outside of Molly and is the tree in the background. Really strikes me because it looks like I can't tell if it's cut off like the photograph or if it's broken. It's hard to tell, but it does create for me a lot of interest because I had just, this is a hard time. Obviously, the Depression happens in 1929, the 1920s and 30s. We know. We don't know. Hopefully, we will never know. But we know historically that it was a really difficult time on people, particularly people living in remote areas and country areas. Everything tanked and life became grueling to the point of misery. Well, life still went on, right? And that time is just such a stark time in history. It is curious, evocative, and a bit of a metaphor to see like gnarly broken trees in the background, right? It almost gives me the feel of kind of a science fiction landscape in the background, whereas in the foreground we have the full feel of a farm setting, right? Molly looks like she's in her farm gear. Looks like very healthy family pet. It doesn't look like the apocalypse, but in the background, it is a bit more mysterious. You know what I mean? Pam says, I won't be using much of the background as it is shown, but yes, I had to have the value first. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then once you do, you can pick and choose as you will, and you will make great decisions. You always make very good instinctive color decisions. And Catherine says the dress loses the gingham. Yep. Yep. Because the gingham would be, it wouldn't be impossible. It would be a case of having to use like an actual herringbone or small check, little window pane or something, and it would look like it. Yep. And Pam says she is going to do that. It could look like gingham. It's either going to be Pam's either going to do it like actual checks, and that's labor intensive, but that would work great, or just using checkered material. Either way, it's going to be beautiful, and I absolutely can't wait to see it. Pam says the cutoff part is from the fence, but there is a tree in the background, of course. Cold weather, no leaves. Yep, yep. Interesting. It's such an interesting photo. It's such a beautiful moment in time. Oh, and you also showed us, let's look at the colors. You started working it out. So you've got the oval laid out, and that makes a lot of sense to me that you're because it had like that photo card feel with like the arch top and the flat bottom. I think putting it to an oval is the perfect thing because it's going to look a lot more like a photograph, isn't it? And I can see you've got your watercolor studies going here, so you are ready to rock. This is going to be so beautiful. I just can't wait to see it. Pam, what do you think? You're going to do it? You said what cuts you're going to do. Are you going to do it in your traditional style? I mean, I don't see how you could fail to, because your style is so instinctive that when you sit down, you do that watercolor style, and it really is all your own. It's a really particular impressionist style. And isn't it funny that, isn't it curious that in doing all of these gallery night shows and all of the shows that we do, more and more, we're seeing more people's work. And more, I'm seeing people here and there, right? Not universally, I'm not including myself, work in a style that cannot be called anything other than impressionist. And I would have formerly said that it's impossible to really get impressionism into rug pieces because unless we're talking about pointillism, because you can't blend. But that's not true. And I was wrong. And man, I love to be wrong about stuff like this because it means that magic happened. Pam is one of these people. There's a handful of people who I can think of who have been working in a style that is absolutely an apples to apples comparison to Impressionist painting. So really impressive. And I can't wait to see it. I'm excited, Pam. Good luck with that. That is going to be such a beautiful project and such a heartstrings project too, isn't it? Molly and Janice. Oh, Janice, you sent a beautiful rug as well. Janice said, I made this rug for my daughter and son-in-law for Christmas. It took me 17 years on and off. I originally planned it as a 12-year project for their 25th anniversary, but missed that by 5 years. It is an old Sturbridge Village pattern, so that means it's a Pearl McGowan pattern. It was hooked with number 4 wool strips. I was a fairly new hooker when I started it and had never done any fine shading. Ooh, Janice, this is interesting, isn't it? This is wait a minute. Did I get that whole quote? Let me make sure. Yep, got it. Janice, this is so beautiful. Let's talk about this. Now, the fact that it took some time to do, right? Hey, it's life, isn't it? Janice, I'm guessing that you did other projects in between. It's a testament to you cannot and you should not do square peg circle hole. I feel strongly about that personally, unless you've got some crazy deadline going on. I mean, I know I often do, but if you don't have someone holding the proverbial rug hooking gun, tufting gun to your head, then you should work on things when the time is right. Even with rug making, right? Even with rug making, being a textile art, I feel like work that is more inspired is just more beautiful. And how can you tell? You just can, right? You just can. When someone says, oh man, I slogged through this thing, you can't believe what an S show this was. Sometimes you can feel it, not every time. This is so glorious. It's so happy. It's an epic project, and I'm not surprised that it took so many years to complete. It is epic. It is daunting. It's a very formidable project, and you hit it out of the park. The things that I love the most about this piece, coming in at number 1 is the color palette. It is so brilliant. You have got sort of a Wedgwood blue in the background field, right? So it's a very unusual McGowan pattern to boot, right? Because it's not your traditional background field. The scroll work is kind of pinching the sides so that it's very irregular, right? It's a very irregular central field in terms of shaping. We're not seeing a rectangle or an oval or one of those things that we're used to seeing. So already it's a very unusual pattern. You drop this beautiful kind of very flat matte Wedgwood blue into the back. And then now somebody said, this rug is going to have a blue background field. It's going to have a blue background around the border. And the scrolls are going to be shades of blue and purple. I would say, ooh, gosh, I don't know. But yeah, Janice, you did know. This is absolutely perfect. There's so many different shades of blue. Between the many shades of blue from the sort of icy, light purpley blue. Incidentally, that color blue that I'm seeing there, if you are loving that really icy blue that's in the corners, I'm sure this isn't the case with this particular rug, but the one that is the most purpley blue, that color to me looks exactly like Dharma's ice blue. No mixing, straight out of the bottle. It's just beautiful. I love the cool blues. I love the warmer blues. I love the dark. I love the light. There are so many different blues in the background that it is lush, right? I get such a sense that there is like a rainbow going on here. Jenna says, the teal blue matched her living room set. My teacher helped with the colors a lot. She did a great job, Janice. And Janice, you did a great job. Let's stick in the border for a second. The yellow goes really well against the blue, right? That's a Vincent van Gogh right there, the yellow with the blue. It's a great color complement. It really pops. The cheerfulness of those daffies on the 4 corners is just absolutely beautiful. And it's almost like I feel like, are those like little pussy willows, like the little dots? I just have not seen this rug before. I have not seen this McGowan pattern to my memory. Oh, you said the blues are all the same colors, just different values. So you were using a swatch set. Surely not. That can't be, because there's some that are purple and purpley blue, and then the teal, and then like the, well, yeah, more purpley again. They must be more than one swatch set, though, no? they're so different. Maybe it's just the color of the photo. They look so different. I couldn't be any more in love with the color palette. Honestly, it's so good. And that nice bright yellow with the daffies on the four corners is so cheerful and engaging. And in the center, this is another thing that I love about this rug. It kind of reminds me of a decorated tray, like a painted tray. Do you know what I mean? All of those flowers. This is like a McGowan special. There are so many McGowan patterns that have a collection of flowers. So it could be that I've seen this one before, but just not made, or maybe it was made in different colors and I've seen it, and it didn't strike me as well as this is striking me right now. This is just so gorgeous. I love the collection of flowers. It's so springtime. It's so pretty. It's cheerful. It's pretty. It's colorful. It's just gorgeous. So Janice says, yes, a swatch set, but the scrolls were in two different green, purple, and pink dip dyes. Okay, yep. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, with the dip dyes, because they do have some colors in common, like the purple is kind of throughout. Very well done. Very well planned. I know that you've got help from your teacher, and I'm sure your teacher did a great job. But Janice, you did a great job. This is a titanic project right here. And, you know, you said you had no experience doing shading. You did some beautiful shading. Everything is executed very, very well. I'd be so curious with this rug. Janice says the original was all mauves. Memoriam rug. Gosh, I can't picture that. I mean, I love mauve, so that would also be beautiful. Melanie says that is stunning. Oh gosh, what was I going to say? My brain is getting tired. Yeah, I'm very excited about this one. This is the, you know, sometimes these rugs for me from this period, like they don't excite me as much as I feel they should, and it leaves me feeling guilty, but that's not the case with this one. This one is just so pretty. There's also something about the amount of white or light flowers, white light flowers in it. There's so many that it gives such a sense of a spray of brightness. You know what I mean? It's like if you're lucky enough to live in an area where there's a lot of Queen Anne's lace on the side of the road, you know how you feel when you go driving by. It just makes you feel like you're in a movie or a dream. It's so pretty. It's really so pretty. Janice, you did a beautiful job. And this is what I was going to say. I'd be so curious to know from beginning to end if you feel like you did one part of it at the beginning, one part at the end. My guess would be you did the outer border with the daffodils like the last, because the colors on the outer border strike me as slightly more contemporary than the inner one. I think mostly because of the presence of peach in the center. For me, when I see peach with pink and yellow, it reminds me, it seems like an older color palette, whereas around the edge, it's really electric and different. I love all of the different worlds merging in this piece, and however long it took you doesn't matter, right? You got there in the end, slow and steady, and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm sure that this was appreciated and is loved. Laura, great to see you. Welcome. Valerie, welcome. I did yours right off the top of the hour. So hopefully you go back and see it, but we really enjoyed it. And Jenna says, yes, I did the middle first and then worked out to the edges. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, there seems like there's a timeline here. And it's a very interesting rug to look at and a very beautiful rug. You killed it. It's just gorgeous. Melissa, you wrote and said, good evening. This is an early rug of mine, probably 17 years ago. It is of B, my daughter, when she was about 4 years old. She always wore floppy hats and sweet little t-shirts, and she always had, oh, sorry, I'm yawning. I'm not tired or bored, I swear. It's just I've been at it for a while today. She was about 4 years old. She always wore floppy hats and sweet little t-shirts, and she always had a little stuffy in her arms, a little stuffed animal. Oh my gosh. The sunflowers represent a little garden of sunflowers we planted that year. This is all recycled wool. Oh, Melissa, this is so fun. You always do these amazing sentimental pieces, just loaded with energy and movement and light. it feels like for me, three of the things I'm seeing here, right? Like your family subjects, and you give your subjects, animals and people, a look that cartoony is the wrong word. It's not cartoony, it's stylized. You give them a stylized, sort of humorous, endearing look. Like your figures, your animals, they have a soft shape to them that I love. You've also been doing a lot of patterning. Maybe you always have. I love the patterning, the sort of hit or miss sky, the hit or miss ground. I love the pattern of the roses on Bee's shirt. And the other thing that strikes me is this isn't the first time I've seen you do like a border of motifs on one side. In this case, it's the sunflowers. And I think this is a really good idea. Having a border on one side, I think as rug hookers, we are so pre-programmed to think in terms of symmetry that sometimes it's easy to forget that you can do stuff that lacks symmetry. And sometimes it gives it an even elevated interest, right? It's such an interesting piece. It's such a beautiful piece. It's B. And this was a while ago. This was 17 years ago, and she was only 4. She's grown into such a beautiful girl. And you planted the sunflowers that year. This is just fantastic. I love this piece. Happy weekend to you too. I think you sent one more that was a little bit more of just a different angle. Love the colors of the walls in your salt box too. Really love them. And all of these pretty yarns. Such a mix of different colors, different shapes, right? Great use of outlining where you have. Great omission of outlining where you haven't. Lots of variety of style. Creates very painterly and artistic piece, but that is your style. Absolutely love it, Melissa. Beautiful piece. And say hi to B. My buddy Colleen sent this piece in, first completed piece of 2025. And this is Colleen Tiefenthal of Beechnut Studio. And this piece is called A Rising Tide. And she is referring to, so this is for Tigger, the International Guild of Hand Hooking Rug Makers. We are all on the board, right? So she's another board member. She's the secretary of the current Tigger. This is a 10 by 10 piece, number 6 wool strips. The Proddy, oh, I see it now. Proddy fishtails and a few crystals. She added some crystals on. You see the bubbles there. This is a welcome pattern for, yep. Hold on, sorry, I'm really struggling. I shouldn't have woken up at 5 o'clock again. I guess I couldn't help it. Sorry. I'm very excited. So we're chugging along, believe me. This is a welcome mat for Tigger. So what I mean is, first of all, the title is A Rising Tide, and our kind of logo, not our logo, what's the word? Our kind of tagline for Tigger 2027 that will take place in Newport in November of 2027. The tagline for it is a rising tide lifts all boats. In other words, it doesn't help to put other people down or to work against other people or be focused too much on competition or people around you who you need to compete with or compare yourself to. That doesn't serve anybody, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. If you're doing well, I'm doing well, she's going to do well, he's going to do well, we're all going to do well. I love the sentiment, and we want to really lift each other up with our work, bring our work to the next level with the Tigger Conference in 2027. But while I am busy as president incorporating the organization behind the scenes, waiting for paperwork, opening bank accounts, getting work done behind the scenes, we are not collecting money for Tigger members until all of this is in place, right? We are not putting the cart before the horse. So until all of that goes through, we are not taking membership money, but we are putting content out on the Tigger website. And the first piece of content that we're putting out is this lovely pattern that Colleen Tiefenthal, again, of Beechnut Studio put out. And this is a challenge pattern for Tigger members to download. Now, this is something that I will be taking to solder, right? Not for the big show. The big show is the Haunted Rug and the Mystic Carpet. But for one of the smaller, you know how there's smaller displays? For one of the smaller displays, we will be bringing a bunch of these finished challenges for Tigger to the Tigger table, right? It'll be the Tigger display and the Tigger table. So huge thank you to Colleen for designing such a beautiful pattern, right? And she does, Colleen, I visited her in her studio and we recorded a great video there, I think last year. Sage Garden says, I have started this pattern. I think I will do one in needle punch and then try one in hooking. I think that's a great idea. That's a great idea. And there will be lots of challenges throughout the course of the Tigger years. This is just the first one. And I don't know how long it's going to be before all of our paperwork is in place, but until our stuff is in place and we can start collecting membership dues, we are not going to punish the Tigger members and people who are going to become members by not putting any content out. We will be putting full content out, more content that I think we're used to seeing because we are 5 business owners, rug hooking business owners, and we're going to take turns putting content out over the course of the next 3 years. So huge thank you to Colleen for being the first person to put the pattern out, and you'll see us like a carousel rotating content and contributions to the Tigger website. So everybody can go on in and enjoy that. Your backing comes tomorrow. Amazing. Oh, it should, Shannon. Sharon, it was sent a little while ago. I'm excited. I'm excited for you to get it. You so want to start this one. It really is so beautiful. Colleen is so good at doing nautical stuff. That's really what Beech Nut is known for. But check out that video I did with her over the weekend, Colleen Tiefenthal. And just be reminded of how beautiful her work is and how varied her work is. So now I'm coming up to the section with our thumbnail artist of the night, the thumbnail photo that I used as the main photo, right, for the video tonight, Linda Shultis-Hoffman. And Linda wrote, hold on one second while I take a sip. That's not what she wrote. Linda wrote, I know I've already sent you pictures of the first 2 rugs with faces, and you understand if they are not included. No, I'm including them because I want to walk into this. I was just experimenting with faces. I've never really attempted them before. Okay, so I want to go over these last 2 because the last things that we've seen from Linda are that we have seen these 2, but I want to look at them again just real quickly because I almost fell off the chair and banged my head on the table when this popped up the first time. I put them all in small and then I look at them like together with you, and this is so different than anything she'd done before. This is so this is modern expressionism, right? Squarely modern expressionism. It has hints of about 50 different modern artists that I could name. Top of the list, Friedensreich, Hunter Wasser, and Paul Klee. But it's absolutely, it's expressionism at its best. I love this piece. This was many moons ago, not many moons ago, it was earlier. Well, now it's 2025. It was probably in the middle of 2024 we saw these 2, and I was so impressed that Linda had done something different and started hooking people just for variety and change. She'd also started hooking buildings, if you remember, around that time, and it was just exciting to see somebody takes such a marked sort of detour from the style that they had always kind of pursued. It's good to chase something different sometime, right? It's good to work outside your comfort zone. It still is very much Linda's work. This is what her pieces look like, right? Very high energy, very graphic pieces, graphic shading, distinct lack of realism. Literal cues missing, like we're getting different color skin tones. We're getting lots of the tropes that go along with modern art. Absolutely beautiful piece. And so new pieces. This one is the one I used for the thumbnail. Let me see what text she sent us for this. This is her latest. It's Little Boxes, like that song. Little Boxes Made of Ticky Tacky. I don't know that song. Little Boxes Made of Ticky Tacky. Gosh, I don't know that song. Otherwise, I would sing it. That sounds like an adorable song. So this is Little Boxes. This one is all cut wool from thrifted garments and all around burlap. Here I've blocked and pinned and ready to hem. Okay, so she's read. I didn't know if that was a feature, if the clothespin were a feature of the rug, but she's just got it clipped. This is her method of finishing the back, right? So she's got it wrapped behind and she's going to stitch it down and she's going to finish it that way. And man, it is glorious. It is already beautiful. A few people were saying, whose design is this? This is Linda's design. She does Ticky Tacky. I'm going to have to look that up. Gosh, that's so funny. I don't know that song. Y'all know that song. Um, yeah, I mean, this is such a lovable piece. Now, so Linda designed this herself. She does all of her own designing. She's very, very bold and instinctive in the way that she designs. Buffy Saint Marie. Gosh, I don't know who that is either. What is wrong? What is going on? I feel like I'm living in an alternate universe tonight. Malvina Reynolds. Malvina Reynolds, great song. Interesting. Okay, thanks, Judy. I'm gonna have to check that out after. That is really fun. Well, you all know the song, so you can listen. You can hear it in your head, right? As we look at this piece. This is something of a tessellation, right? It's not exactly a tessellation because there are triangle parts, but it's a great repeat pattern. It's a strong geometric. We are definitely familiar with geometric house patterns in rug hooking. I think because quilters, right, have been doing house patterns, schoolhouses, barn patterns for many, many years. And Joan Moshimer, I think, was one of the first, or at least most famously, did a lot of house patterns that were repeat houses. But they didn't look like this. This is so much different, so much more colorful. You know, this, okay, hang on, wait a minute. Oh, let me see if I can pull it out of my head. Hold on. Oh, okay. There's a book. Okay, yep, there's a book by a quilter. It's probably from the 90s that reminds me of this color-wise, who only did houses. And I think the name of the book is called Freddie's House. I can picture the cover of the book, and I think it says Freddie's House. I'm not sure, but check it out because it has it just more inspiration. It's a quilt book that is all yes, the Y pattern. Yep, very nice, Sharon. It absolutely it's the Y pattern that Pearl McGowan did all the time too. She didn't do it as a house, right? But using that Y pattern, right, where the triangle isn't coming down between the houses, you can do so much with a good Y, right? Like seriously. Interesting that you picked right up on that. I'm just catching up on the thread. You've got the Joan Moshimer hook. Oh, good, Laura. Good. It works great. It might be your forever hook. I use that hook very often still. Kelly says that is going to be come to life. What a great photo, Pam. Oh, yeah, you're looking at Pam's of Molly and you know. And Pam says, actually, I think it's little boxes made of ticky-tacky little boxes on a hillside. Gosh, I'm going to check that out. This is just so pretty. It's just color-wise, in terms of the motif, we love variations on a multiples composition. Whenever you see multiple of something in one composition, you know you're going to be excited, right? Because all of the different colors, the numbers of windows, the walkways, it's absolutely beautiful. What a lot of fun. Oh, Becky, your mom used to sing that song. You all are having some good memories, right? Freddie Moran. Am I good or what? Kelly says, Freddie Moran, yes. I took a class from her. Oh, she's a woman. Okay. Very cool lady. Passed away recently. Okay. May she rest in peace. Yeah, that's one of my favorite quilting books. And it's a book that's about all house patterns, I think. The one I'm thinking of, Freddie's House. All of the patterns in it are house patterns, just further inspiration, right? I mean, Linda's piece here is inspiration enough without a doubt. Just more inspiration, right? Just in case the weekend gets you. Absolutely beautiful. It's such a stunning piece, Linda. Linda, I just love the work that you I've always loved your Halloween stuff. You know that's like my favorite. I love the buildings, I love the people, all of these different detours you're making. It's like you're taking a tour and you're going down all the side streets and everything is up for consideration. You're doing so many different kinds of pieces now, and this one is a bit of a composite because I'm seeing some of your previous motifs, right? Your animals, your flowers, that sort of skull, right? Your famous skull that's also in the Haunted Rug book. This is almost like a quilt, right? Like not a sampler quilt, but like not a Baltimore quilt, but like more like a no, not quite a crazy quilt because everything's facing the right way. You know what I mean? It's like a collage of lots of different motifs, and I don't think we see this enough. It's a patchwork. There we go. Dang it, it's a patchwork, and yep. And so she didn't give this one a name, and I don't think we see this enough. Honest to God, when you think about it, right? We all have our favorite things that we like to hook. We all have things that we've hooked that we think, gosh, that was great. I wish I should do a little bit more of that. And then you forget. It's a great idea to put a rug together with some of your faves, right? Like your greatest hits, your solid gold. It makes a fun project. Lots of little things to include. Great trip down memory lane. And it becomes such a beautiful piece to look at because there's so much interest here, isn't there? So much interest. And Linda says, congratulations on 5 years. I've been watching from the first and it's really been fun. Yeah, you have been there with me from the first. And it has been fun. Freddie Moran. Yep. Thank you so much, Joyce. I'm glad. I'm very happy that my brain is still working. I hope I can hold on to that for a while. Other stuff isn't working great, like my metabolism, but the brain is working good. That's all we need, right? Kathy, what a stunning piece. Kathy wrote, Deanna, these are 3 of my finished pieces. Let's start with this one. The skates were a project from Cushing, W. Cushing Company. I wanted a sparkly material for the skates, and I found a remnant at Joann's. Weren't you lucky to find that? I'm getting a little closer to the screen. Gosh, that's so pretty. Yeah, I see some sparkliness under the skates themselves, right? The silver part of the skates. It was a little difficult to hook with. It was my first attempt at trying to make a plaid look. Oh, right. Yep, I see the textile piece on the top, right? That like the scarf really does look plaid. I think you did a really nice job. It really does look plaid. Plaid is extremely hard, but you totally pulled it off. There's no question in my mind that that's a plaid scarf. And you said the background is hand-dyed wool because I could not find anything to look like what I was picturing in your head. You know, what you've done and maybe what you were picturing is something so soft and romantic, right? Almost like an old-fashioned still life. Just the sort of it's evoking the season, isn't it? The gentleness of yesteryear. It's like a little vignette, right? The skates, little textile-y scarf, little bit of maybe holly, right? Holly berries, a little sprig of greenery anyway. It absolutely does what it's supposed to do. It is so charming, so sweet. It evokes the gentleness of the season. It has an old-fashioned flavor that gives it so much charm. It is such a beautiful piece. Now, the silver, right? That is always a thing, is finding the right material for stuff like that. You know, one of the things that can work in these moments, and it's up to you if it works well enough or not. You know, they do sell like the ironing board material, that gray sort of shiny ironing board material at Joann's. It's thick, but that's possible. Also, ribbons or any kind of lame, like anything that looks like a lame, any of those costume fabrics, even if they're tissue paper thin, you can always cut a piece and like fold it a bunch of times, like fold it into a strip, a many ply strip, and it'll be a lot easier to hook with. Is it possible that when you hook with, and I'm definitely not in Kathy's piece, just in general. Is it possible if you hook with novelty material like super tissue paper thin lame and those kinds of metallics, is it possible that your loops come up looking like folded paper, like a crease as opposed to a nice round lofty loop? It is possible. And the only way you can be sure to avoid that with those super thin materials, 2 things you can do. You can either take a super thin material. I'm going to pretend I have 2 different materials here. So we'll do leap of faith, okay? No, these are both wool strips, but let's pretend that's not the case. Let's pretend this is a wool strip, and let's pretend this is gold, like lame. Look at the damn green screen is still on, and I have it off. That makes me crazy. I got to get a different strip. I know it doesn't matter, but it's going to drive me nuts. Let me get something pink or whatever. It's like Deanna, who cares? This is like OCD going wild. Okay, so I'm using like this purple one as the gold. So let's say I have this gold strip and this is like tissue paper. What I can do is I can use the carrier. A carrier is the wool strip, right? It's nice and thick. And then you put the strip of the thin material on top of it and you hook with both. And it gives more body to the thin one, right? A carrier is just something that you put under your little wimpy materials that you choose, whether it's ribbons or thin materials that have no integrity. You just put a carrier under it so it has a little bit more body. The other thing that you can do, and I did do a video on this ages ago, is you can take a strip of wool, right, just like a piece of wool, or really any material, and take your tissue paper. Let's pretend in this case this is the tissue paper, and I'm going to want to fuse them together, right? And this is like a hot mess, right? This is like gold metal, right? So I'm not going to touch the iron to it, but I get the two-way interfacing, right? There's double-sided interfacing, and if you don't know what that is, ask them at the fabric store, the quilt store, Joann's, Michael's, whatever. Ask them. I'm catching up on your comments. Ask them for the double-sided fusible, and what you'll do is you'll cut it to be the size, right? So if your wool is this size and you want something this big, right, you're going to cut a piece this big, so it's as big as the purple, and then you're going to get your interfacing and you're going to cut it to be the same size, and now you've got to hit it with the iron, right, to make the interfacing stick both pieces together. But what side are you going to hit the iron to? You ain't going to hit it to this side, right, because you're going to lose your iron and get a lot of noxious fumes in the air. You're going to flip it over and you're going to apply heat to the wool, right? The wool can handle it. Your synthetic man-made material on the front cannot handle it. So you turn it over and you go crazy steaming the wool. And when you're all done, you flip it over and test the corners. Always get the corners good. But you will see that your difficult, shiny, metallic material with the double-sided interfacing, the double-sided fusible interfacing in the middle, like a sandwich, they've all three fused together like a sandwich, right? And then you can put it right through. I actually wouldn't put it through my cutter if I had the man-made material on it. I wouldn't. But if you feel good about doing it once in a while, then you could. But it's ready to cut, is what I mean. It's ready to cut. I might put it through my Bliss because I know I can sharpen the blades. Honestly, I might do that. But it'll be so well fused. If you're thinking, well, after you cut it into strips, then does it fall apart? No, it doesn't fall apart. Once it's fused, right? You'd have to really peel it apart, and you'd probably destroy the thin metallic part if you did that. Once it's fused, it is fused. So that's always a good way to get metal and metallic colors into your rug hooking, right? Just make sure that you keep some double-sided interfacing, fusible interfacing on hand. And that will never be a problem again. All right, let's look at Kathy's next one. Hold on, I'm finding where we are. There we go. Ooh, okay. The second one. This is one that Kathy needle punched with scraps of yarn. Nothing was planned, she said. I felt like doing at the time. I think that sentence has a typo. We'll get past it. I know it's very abstract and crazy, but it was fun to do. You know, it's abstract, but it's not crazy, Kathy. It looks like marbleized paper. You know, it looks like an expressionist landscape. It looks super artistic. It's not crazy at all. And this style of going kind of row by row, that's a quilting term as well. Row by row, right? You start like at the bottom and then you just go up or vice versa. And just row by row, you decide what's next, what color is next, what shape is next. Am I outlining? Am I adding something different? Just row by row, right? If quilters can do it, we can do it too. There's nothing crazy about this. This style was very popular at the dawn of rug making in the 19th century. This is a form of hit or miss, right? Very exaggerated, what looks a little bit wild. They did this in the 19th century, so it's not that wild. Color-wise, it's more wild than what they would have done. But nobody would have thought anything about seeing this rug on the floor in browns and beige and camels and grays, right? Nobody would have said a thing about that. But it does look more wild and crazy, right, in full blast colors. And I think that's a good thing. I think seeing it in these colors is super high artsy, very energetic color palette. It's very lively, right? This piece just has a ton of energy in personality. It's a great hit or miss piece, but it's a piece that keeps you looking, right? It really reads as a nice art piece. It doesn't read to me as like just a hit or miss piece, right? Just wanted to get it done. My feet were cold on the side of the bed. I just wanted to get something done. No, this is artsy. This is really artsy. I think it came out beautifully, Kathy. I hope you're super proud of that. Another kind of hit or miss piece. So this is another Cushing piece. So you saw Lizanne from Cushing describe this rug. I also quilt, and I loved the quilt block look of this. So I planned it out. Okay, so and you say, Kathy, you say if any of them are not suitable, and they are all suitable. I love them so much. I just want to add that later in your email you say, I like the idea of using materials scraps, old clothes, and sheets in hooking. I'm thinking of coming up with a pattern for a footstool using all of these. Now the hard part, should I display paisleys, flowers, or a scene? That is the hard part. You are the inspiration that led me down this path of rug hooking. Thank you for explaining this process and for all of the other videos. Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure and my privilege to be here making these videos and being able to make a job out of this. So I owe everything that I have done and that I will do to you all. Because if you weren't there, there's no one at the other end of the camera. There's no one at the other end of the computer, and there's no money in my bank account. So I appreciate that you allow me to be here and do this with you. And yeah, I hope I always am. So my pleasure, Kathy. This is a well-known pattern, and I also love this pattern. We just talked about Moroccan tiles at the beginning of the show. This is such a great opportunity for hit or miss. It is a beautiful old pattern. It is a pattern that I'm going to show you how this pattern works. Come with me for a second. Let's do this just for a second. I don't want to fool around too much. I'm just going to say a pattern like that, as with most hit or miss patterns. There we go. The pattern actually works. I'm going to put this into fours. The pattern actually works like, I'm trying to remember it now, like this. Right? It's a block that looks like this. Now, when you see a block that looks like that on the diagonal, you might be thinking, well, that's not at all what that rug looked like. Actually, it is. It's just, if you're doing all your darks, for example, in the center and your lights on the sides or vice versa, once you get them all into place, you place four together, and guess what? It makes the pattern. So independently, each of these blocks is just supporting a wavy diagonal. And if you don't believe me, there we go. Just like a log cabin quilt, it is completely going to depend on how you lay out the colors. If you lay out the colors in a completely random hit or miss manner, for example, no black centers, no dark centers or light centers, right, at the corners, at the edges of each square, then it will just be a repeat, right? It'll just be a very energized sort of vibration of a rug with all of these wavy diagonals. But once you start to kind of plan for darks and lights, you end up having centers, right? And if you have that repeat, you do get a very, very interesting rug from a very simple pattern, but such a lot of fun, right? Such a lot of fun. This is the exact kind of pattern that Pearl McGowan lays out in her early books, like the Dreams Beneath the Design. She talks about patterns like this and how to make patterns like this. She's very forthcoming with ideas for these early patterns. While this is a Cushing pattern, right, this doesn't have to be, you could do something quite similar, right, because it's basically a wavy diagonal square. And remember, same idea as when you're, oops, sorry, oops, where am I? I was thinking, oh no, it's like with the volume. When you're thinking about, hang on, there we go. When you're thinking about quilts, same thing as with quilts. If you have a bunch of blocks and they all have that wavy line just diagonally going through it, you could do so many different configurations, right? It almost becomes like Lego. You lay them all down in one direction, it's a different rug, isn't it? They're all going this way over and over and over repeating. That's a different rug. So, and you lay them facing each other with all the darks or lights facing each other, and then you get like a diamond shape or a square shape, right? A tipped square. So there's so many things that you can do. You could do any number of patterns, but you just need to plan for it first. But it is an easy rug to plan, and what a lot of fun to do. Very pretty design. Love it. Kathy, all three of those were just gorgeous. Very well done. Very different too. So thank you so much. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, I have got, oh, Kelly, I think I put these in twice. What is wrong with me? Because remember I asked you, did we look at these or am I losing it? I had to write to Kelly. Happy date night, girlfriend. I had to write to Kelly and say like, because I knew I saw them and I couldn't remember if I saw them because I opened them, but I actually could picture myself talking about the stuff that you sent tonight, and I must have dreamed it as I often do, have these crazy dreams, and then I can't sort of distinguish between reality and that's a different problem. But I think I'm going to have these in twice. We're going to have to deal with that later. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that, Kelly. That I would have to come back and say, like, did we do this? Now, you sent a beautiful email too that was really interesting. There's like two parts to this. So you start by saying, so I am so new to rug hooking, but I am totally hooked. My first piece was, I'm going to come back to you here for this. My first piece was a posy. I remember that. We saw that, right? We looked at that together. We did look at that together. By Dion Fitzpatrick that I purchased as a kit. What I'm sending you is my second finish. It is my own drawing. I made this for my friend Sarah, who lives in East Sussex, England. We bonded over many things. One of them was our love for Doc Martin. Sarah was able to visit Port Isaac last year and see the real house. This is my crude depiction, let me come back here, of the house on the hill. And let me show you the house on the hill at the same time. I'm going to do another thing like I did with Molly and oops, wait a minute, I meant to do that and do some side by side. That looks really cute, doesn't it? This is my crude depiction of the house, hill, cliffside, and sea. I wouldn't call it crude, Kelly. I would definitely call it, it's primitive. It's not crude. You took the bit, let me finish the thing first. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. This was hooked on burlap with thrifted yarns. I'm currently working on a few of your designs. Oh, I can't wait. I'm having fun and hoping to venture out on another original design soon. My best and gratitude to you and everybody in the Facebook group. Oh, that is so sweet. That is so sweet. I love this piece. I love this piece. It is not crude, right? You have very methodically and thoughtfully looked at the photograph and represented the different layers that are happening here. The water, the earth, like the sandy hillside earth, the grass, and finally the house. You've depicted the 4 layers that are also in the other picture. You have a different perspective, right? Oh, hey, Veronica, good to see you. Different perspective, right? That's not crude. That you did a really thoughtful design and it worked really well. And I bet your friend super loved it to boot. I super love it. I love the texture that you've got in the grass. And I love the texture in general. I love all of the texture. I love the outlining, right? This really smart. You're just catching the shape of the house. You're catching the shape of everything. It's all super fun and lively and colorful. And it's just like delicious colors. It's very springy. It's very fertile. It does have the look of a stone house in England, right? It has that kind of Daphne du Maurier romance to it, a bit of mystery. It's really beautiful. And consider you did a kit first, and then you did this as your own project. And I think that's amazing. Just like the Doc Martin's house. Is this actually the house from Doc Martin? Is it the actual, like the house that they use for filming and stuff? What a great atmosphere. Kelly, this is amazing. I think I have your other piece at the end of the show. I thought I put them together, but we're going to come to Native Tom a little bit later. Kelly, that was beautiful, and there was nothing crude about it. I promise you. Joyce, I almost died when I got this message. I was so jealous. I hate to be jealous. I hate to be jealous. But I am so jealous. You wrote, I hope this isn't too late. Nope. I found this Sharon Smith pattern called Bath Time on eBay. And you got this beautiful piece for $35. Holy mackerel. This is one of my favorite Sharon Smith designs. I've seen it done before. And I have to say, I just love this version of it. I can picture other versions of it in different colors. I just love this version of it. I love the dog. I love the posture of the dog. He looks just like Buttons when he gets washed. Enduring, like putting up with it, but not enjoying. Sweet little kind of skeptical face, like is it over yet face. But I just love the colors in this. I love the costumes, very period costumes in this piece, but the sweet, simple expressions on the faces, the breakdown of the clothing, right? It's so like early mid 20th century, the grays, the greens, the background, right? It's such an interesting background. It's a cross between a kind of a hit or miss and a marble cake, repeating the same materials over and over, but it's not done in any particular pattern. It kind of forms a bit of a suede background, patches of color that seem to be going one way and different loops in the same color going another way with kind of a suede finish. Hints of gray getting in there with the brown, so a good neutral background. The floor is also neutral with black and white, right? All neutral. So, and the colors are very subdued, but yet it still manages to pull off the look of a very colorful rug. It is just absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Um, I think 35 is incredible. You did very well. It's a beautiful piece. Joyce, I know that you are going to love this forever. It is just a stunning piece. I love seeing it. I love seeing Sharon Smith's stuff. I remember I did at least one full Sharon Smith episode where we looked at her work, which is now all owned by Cushing. It's just beautiful. It's such a nice moment in time. It's an unusual piece too because of the crop. Um, it feels the fact that it's cropped it is interesting in terms of composition because there seems to be a lot of extra space here. You know what I mean? Like it's not a crowded composition. It's just the dog and the two figures, but there's a lot of background showing and a lot of floor showing, and yet the heads are cropped. So for me, that's interesting because it's unexpected. If there's all of this room and yet the people's heads are not in the thing, it's a good composition device. It's a device. It's not a mistake. It's one of Sharon Smith's beautiful patterns. All of Sharon Smith's patterns are beautiful. Absolutely amazing. And what a great buy. Barbara, you had a lot of fun, and I was so grateful to you doing It's All Gravy because I still have not finished my It's All Gravy. So this is a ribbon candy hooking pattern that came out in November. Was it November? Whimsical. Barbara wrote This whimsical design spoke to me, as did the gravy boat. It is the perfect compliment for my ironstone collection. Yeah, it really is. I love the gravy boat on that too. I know when the genesis of, I love the collection with it, right? It's amazing to create a vignette like this, and thank you so much for showing it with the ironstone gravy boat. It's super, super pretty. I want to look at the rug a little bit closer up. It's such a great handling of this rug. It's so different. Mine is very heavy paisley. I just love the directional hooking on her dress. I love the addition of the button on his jacket and her earring. It's so much fun. It's so sweet. It's such a mix of things, this piece, and particularly in the colors that you did. I love, instead of being kind of lamb's tongues or whatever around the border, right, scallops, they're kind of turkey feathers. And obviously, because they're like two courting turkeys. The idea for this pattern came while I was driving over to my mom's house on 91, which is it's just the worst highway, but it's our highway over here. So I was driving along 91 and there was a sign, it's all signs for lawyers like, hey, oh, hey, if your head's hanging on by a thread, why don't you hire us, right, to rip someone off, like that kind of thing. And it always irritates me. But one of the signs, they're all lawyers, all, with the exception of one, and it just was a white sign with black writing that said "It's All Gravy," and I couldn't even tell what was written under it, like the company that sponsored it. And I thought, I have not heard that expression for a really long time. I'm going to do a rug called "It's All Gravy." And then when I started for like Thanksgiving going into Christmas, right, and then I worked on the rug over the course of several videos, maybe like 5 or 6 videos. I did different aspects of hooking the rug, the way that I was hooking the rug, right? We're all hooking it differently, but it just was a good vehicle for talking about different techniques and color choices and all that stuff. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun, and I still have not finished mine, but I love this color palette. And the thing that was hard was putting together the words "It's all gravy" into a composition, because at the end of the day, I did not want to I didn't want to say "It's all gravy," and then having the turkey, like showing turkeys in a way that it was like they were about to be eaten. You know what I mean? Like, it's all gravy. Let's let's eat the cute characters pictured. So instead of doing something like a roast, I did turkeys who are obviously not about to be eaten, but actually celebrating Thanksgiving or Christmas themselves. And I love this pattern. And Barbara, thank you so much for doing this and for finishing this, because it is super sweet, super charming, so much fun. And your color palette, everything about the way that you executed this, I think is so successful. Your text is excellent too. The shading on the what do you call that? The gravy dish. I'm so frustrated that I can't stop yawning. I'm so sorry. I promise I'm going to stop. You know what it is? And I know a lot of you are having this too. I was waking up at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and not going back to sleep until like 6, right? Then having 1 hour before I absolutely had to get up. Lately, I've been waking up like clockwork at 5:15, which is better than 3:15, right? Which was my old time. I just can't sleep anymore. I don't know what it is. I'm not uncomfortable. Nothing's wrong. I have new pillows. I have more new pillows. I have newer new pillows. Everything is right. I just can't sleep anymore. And I'm at the point now where I wake up and if I go back to sleep, then you have one of those horrible dreams that you wish you didn't have. So I just get up. It does make me tired at 7 p.m. Isn't that crazy? Man, I am rolling up the sidewalk in my 50s, huh? It's like everything is like such a challenge these days. I'm going to stop complaining. I'm sorry. All right. This is another beauty, Melinda. Another Sharon Smith pattern. Isn't that funny? I mean, we could go months without seeing a Sharon Smith pattern. We had two beauties tonight. Melinda Chu did this amazing pattern. I forgot how much I love this by Sharon Smith. It's obviously paper dolls. I'm not sure what the actual name is. Melinda says, I hooked it at the beginning of the pandemic as one of my first rugs. That is so ambitious, because this is not an easy rug, is it? But God, is it beautiful. I chose it because I could complete small motifs while practicing hooking, and I got to do some color planning. You know, that's a great reason. The rationale for doing this, choosing this rug, that makes a lot of sense. You kind of bite-sized piece it, right? You do it in bite-sized pieces. You do this one color plan, just this one dress. That is really clever, really smart. That's very, very solid logic, Melinda. Small motifs while practicing color plan. I hooked the two dolls to resemble my daughters and enjoyed the nostalgia of all of those little white tabs. Oh, that is so well written, too. It currently hangs in the laundry room. Oh, that is the perfect place for it as well. Gosh, isn't everything about this just so charming? I love that the two characters are the two daughters. And I just love the idea of tackling each dress or garment bit by bit. I think do I see a mask in there? Is there a little mask over on the right? Is that a mask? I suppose that could be something else. Just looks like a mask, doesn't it? Could be a little hat or something like that. So cute. It's so cute. It's so good. It's so cheery. I'm thinking of a similar pattern that I did for the Halloween book. It was the Halloween paper dolls, which is done more like a pull out for a magazine where they're going all different directions. There's something really compelling about this layout with everything being in the same direction. It's almost like everything's kind of staring at you. Everything's ready for you, all laid out in an organized manner in a way that, you know, my closet, my room has never seen. But it is super, super sweet, isn't it? Yeah, the thing about the sleeping, right? So many of us have these same things, and yeah, you know, and I have to say, if it weren't for the fact that we talk so much here, and you all told me so many things, and send me emails to say, oh, you know what that could be, menopause, and you know what that could be, menopause. It's usually menopause, isn't it? I mean, to be fair, it's usually, But yeah, I mean, I have gotten my best information from you here. And I typically, when something's wrong, go to the doctor and use words that you all have told me. And it's helped so much with so many things at so many different times. It's good to share information because, yeah, we don't get told the things. We get told plenty of things day to day that we do not need to know or hear. But it seems like the really important things, like nobody ever told me about those things. Just random things that could happen, but the same things don't happen to every person, do they? Yeah, I don't know. I had another one the other day, but I won't tell you about it. Probably go get some blood work done and see what new is happening. But man, it just never ends, right? Gosh, that was so pretty, Melinda. That piece is just absolutely precious. I absolutely love this. And I love the colors too. And don't you love that it hangs in the laundry room? I mean, how fun is that? Sweet piece. All right, let's see. Sage Garden. I remember McCall's magazine having paper dolls. Yep, I do too. So much fun. And more, I think more recently, Mary Engelbright, right? I'm not sure if she still publishes her magazine, but if she does, and when she did, she always had paper dolls, and they had kind of a different theme. Do you remember each issue? They were always just perfect. Like just her art is just perfect, isn't it? So much fun. I'm just going to take a sip of water. Suzanne, you're getting tired. I know it, huh? Okay, so I have two pieces for you from Sharon Brown. Sharon, thank you so much for sending these pieces. So different. Now, this one really struck me, right? I looked at it and I said, okay, ride or die. And it had to, I needed some research here because I didn't get the reference. And I think it's a reference to that movie, what is it? Teach Your Dragon, How to Train Your Dragon. I think it's a reference to that. Um, but it's such a lot of fun. It was a bit of a down the rabbit hole. So this is a great piece. I think that this is a punched piece. There wasn't any text that came with it, but Sharon, I'm guessing this is a punched piece. I think that Ride or Die refers to How to Train Your Dragon or one of that series of books. You did a beautiful job making a composition from what is a film and a series of books, right? Like young adult books, very popular, very busy, very fantasy, lots going on. You managed to come up with a composition that is very simple, striking in silhouette, that still really evokes the mood of the book, right? So they're jumping right off the page. The dragon's jumping right off the page. It is such a great piece. Again, I'm not sure if it is hooked or punched, but looking at it more closely, I'm thinking it's punched. I'm thinking it's punched with yarn. Regardless, you did a beautiful job. This is a great piece. I would love to know more about this piece and the other piece that you sent that we'll look at in just a second. I love your color in this, and I love the color placement. I love the repeat of the yellow between the pages of the book. It's orange like the border, right? It has such a sort of organic feel, right? I get the sense that you were figuring it out as you went along and you were making good decisions as you went along. It was a very good decision to box the red inside the orange, right? I like the sameness of the colors. They're very striking colors. It might be that the colors are symbolic, but I don't know the story or the series well enough to really know. It was a very good decision to do the flying dragon, the big one in black, and the pages of the book in black. That was a very good decision. Very strong, very striking. Beautifully done, Sharon. You did a great job. And you also sent this piece, which I'm guessing is another original piece. It's beautiful. I'm wondering if it's a pillow or if it's something for the table. It looks like a Dresden plate quilt block, but again, I think it might be hooked. But I would guess that it's punched, again with yarn. And you did this beautiful design that's kind of a hybrid of a Dresden plate quilt block, and a tic-tac-toe board. So a lot of fun, kind of a play on that circle in the middle, dropping the tic-tac-toe grid on top of it, and making pom-poms. Definitely made pom-poms to match around the edges, seeing some of the same color palette as the ride or die. You did a really nice job. I would love to know more about how you're working, how you're coming up with your designs, what your materials are, and I'd love a confirmation that you're punching. You're doing beautiful work, and I haven't seen your work before as far as I know. So I want to congratulate you on some beautiful pieces, lots of fun, and I can't wait to see more. You did a beautiful job, Sharon. These are gorgeous pieces, really fun. Joe, you sent me something beautiful too. You sent me a first and last. Hold on one second. I'm just going to take a sip while I paraphrase. So, okay, well, let me just take a quick sip. Okay, so this is the first rug that you started. This is your first rug. Okay, so this is your first rug, and you started it at the Western McGowan Teachers Workshop in June of 2002. And you hadn't hooked anything. You said, not only was I not a teacher, I hadn't hooked anything. Wow. Holy mackerel. I thought I was going to attend a week-long workshop and audit it for a rug hooking friend in Australia. But the workshop director at the time was Charlotte Price from the House of Price in Mars, Pennsylvania, who arranged for me to be there. Thought I should dive right in, so I did. Well, you're a good sport, Joe. Gosh, that sounds amazingly stressful. And you said, yes, it was stressful. Gosh, that sounds hard. 5 days of workshops with a different teacher and project every day. That is super intense, particularly when you didn't know that it was coming at you. Absolutely beautiful, though. The instructor, I recognize this one. The instructor for this piece was Angeline Malone. The piece is a McGowan design called Afghanistan. This is one of her prayer rugs, 13.5 by 22.5 inches. Angie was very patient, and the fact that the rug was starting at one end and counting the loops so it could be repeated exactly at the other end actually made it easier for me to pick up. Wow. Yep, that is meticulous. I do quite like this pattern, I have to say. This is one of the older patterns, but it is so unusual, isn't it? When one of the teachers I met the first day realized what my position was, she took me under her wing and gave me a lesson in how to hook and pull loops. God, Joe, this sounds so stressful. A technique that I still use to this day. She was a nurse, and she asked me if I'd ever given someone a hypodermic needle. I hadn't, but she showed me how to hold the hook like a needle and insert it, catching the wool strip between my thumb and my first finger below the backing, and then without twisting the hook, pull the strip straight up, easy peasy. That's a really good description, and it's really funny and interesting that she immediately thought of that sort of parallel, that you might have used a hypodermic needle with a patient, and that could be a good sort of apples to apples for you. That's really clever. And you said, so I came home from that first McGowan workshop with 5 unfinished designs and swatches of wool to complete them. Holy mackerel. Gosh, that is, and the fringe, right? So Joe, I wonder if Joe is still on, because Joe is also in Australia. I'm wondering if the fringe was done in the class. Because yeah, these classes go fast. It's like a crazy carousel, right? I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine how much of this would have gotten done and the fringe. Oh, are you there? Joe, did you do the fringe in class, or was that like a different class at a different time? Because that looks majorly labor intensive. But that's a great effect, right? That used to be a lot more popular. No, the class didn't include the fringe. It's a great touch. You know, you see a lot. I think this year at Tigger there was a class. I think there was a class in fringe at Tigger this year. Yeah, it's a great. You know, we don't see that many fringe rugs anymore. But if you are actually using a rug as a rug, it is interesting to think about whether you do want to add fringe to it. That's incredible, Joe, because your colors match perfectly. They're like perfect. You did a really beautiful job. And now the second one that you sent, Hang on, let's see. The second one that you sent, ooh, the other rug I started at home in Perth. I laid a plastic stem of a bird of paradise flower on the photocopier. Oh, stop it. Did you? Cut out a template and then drew it on Hessian burlap and hooked it using strips of cut t-shirts and some old crimpline from my mother's sewing basket. You're not old enough to know what crimpline is. I'm trying to think, what is crimpline? But okay, it's polyester knit. Crimpline. It was popular in the 1970s for dresses and suits because the material has some stretch and knitwit patterns were simple to use and the garments didn't crease. Oh, interesting. So I'm gonna have to look that up. Crimpline. Um, so it was like it was fabric. It wasn't like a ribbon or a bias tape or something like that. It was actually like a piece of fabric. Gosh. I like the things that don't crease part. Joe says, I used it in the background and ran out before I was finished, hence the dribbles in yellow. Oh, I see. You came very, very close at the top of each corner. You know, it's funny. It's one of those things. I don't think that I would have I would have noticed that, but I wouldn't have noticed that in a way that I would have assumed it was intentional. I really would have. So it was fabric. That is so interesting. Okay, people are remembering those patterns. How funny is that? So the rug has been on the floor since it was finished in 2004. Gets an occasional wash in the shower on the floor. Yep. And then hung over the clothesline outside in the sun to dry. It's finished with an edge bound with t-shirt facing, which had a cord run through, it before it was turned over and stitched to the back of the rug. Oh, yeah. I'm just looking in on it there. You know what I extra love about... Oh, I'm not finished. Hold on one second. Looking forward to getting up early enough to get organized to get online. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. And good morning over there in Australia. I'm so glad that you're there. You know, I love everything about this rug. I love the idea of putting the plastic flower, coming up with a pattern that way, making your own composition that way. We've seen that a few times tonight, examples of like starting with the first rug, the snowflake patterns, right? Repeating those. I mean, it's just so good to have the confidence to just go ahead and make your own design using something as a stencil or a template. And I love the idea of you rootling through your mom's materials and coming up with stuff that you could hook with. And yeah, it must have been so stressful when you got to the very end and you're like, oh, I'm so close. But you know, it looks great. It really ties in the orange. These remind me of tiger lilies. I know they're not, but color-wise, it really ties in the orange with the flowers. I think it's such a fun rug. And you've got all these built-in devices going in here, a lot of explaining, right? This is a great program tonight for beginners too, because it's giving you a lot of ideas of how people have solved problems, from design problems to running out of material problems, right? So Joe, you ran into the same problems that Valerie ran into at the beginning of the episode with the snowflakes, right? She also did a stencil driven pattern like this pattern here, and she also ran out of background material and had to improvise. And you both improvised in different ways. You improvised with a different color, but a color that fits the color palette. Valerie used similar colors. So just proving the point that there's so many things that you can do when you get yourself into a bind. Joe, thanks for sending those. Those are so much fun and so lovely. And Shannon sent a couple of great pieces today too. She says, hi, I purchased this pattern a few years ago from a small rug hooking store in Caledonia. Um, um, and then it says N. Something was cut off. Where's Caledonia? Unknown designer. I decided to hook the ground as earth colors since the snow tends to melt the next day. However, not the case this year. We've had snow for a few weeks now. Also sent in my first hooked piece from a class in San Antonio. Oh, this might be the first. Yeah, this is the first hooked piece. Yeah, because I can picture the second one. So this piece Shannon did in 2003 in her first hooking class in San Antonio, Texas. Super sweet, simple piece. Yep, this is wool strips. Really simple color palette, but so lovely, right? Such a lovely design. It almost reminds me of one of these shortbread designs. Um, oh, Joe, you said just wanted to say that I completed the 5-year training and you got your accreditation in June of 2008. Good for you. Good for you, because anybody would say that was a very rough start. You were a good sport. You hung in there. Great job. Great job. Um, Oh, I think it's great that you're looking for friends on Facebook too. I think that's great. This is how we find each other here because yeah, this is our core group of buddies right here, I think. So it's that for me, I love that. So yeah, Shannon, great first piece, and it's so neat and tidy. Shannon is so neat and tidy, right? You know Shannon. She helps me with so much stuff. I just recorded some videos with her. I went down to the Hook in Maryland, no Delaware, and Shannon and I went out and had a nice couple of days together. We recorded lots of videos in December doing that stuff together. She's just a really close friend. And this is the piece that she was talking about with the snow. So this is the piece that she purchased from the rug cooking store in Caledonia, and she doesn't know the designers, and she did it in the earth colors because the snow usually melts, right? So the ground under the snowman is melted. That's funny. Um, that's interesting too because it's unexpected, right? To see the so many neutrals in this instead of just snow, snow, and more snow. It's unexpected. But it's a great piece and it's different for that reason. It's got a lot of humor to it. It's very whimsical. They are snow people there sitting on a lump of ground, right? Not snowy ground. And the background is neutral. It works remarkably well, I have to say. I like the fineness of their little arms. The so cute, Pam says, the snowflake. Love those snow folks. They are adorable, and the snowflakes coming down. Very, very fine. Very well done. The outlining is necessary here, definitely, right? Because the white and the mixed beige colors, that would not work if it weren't for the fact that there's a little outlining. She did an absolutely beautiful job. All right, let's keep going. Shannon, I love those. Those are super, super sweet. And Andrea sent, oh, 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 this is impressive. Andrea sent this rug. She says, hello, darling. I took a William Morris course from Doris Norman in Fredericton, New Brunswick in November. So that's right before we were together at Tigger. Oh no, no, it was after. It was right after we were together. This piece is 52 by 36. That's big. I totally broke the color rules, but I'm loving how it's coming together. Oh my gosh, I am too. I'm going to watch you this evening for the first time. Andrea, this piece is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. So Morris Hammersmith Floral 2 from Encompassing Designs. It's a great Canadian rug cooking brand. This is so lavish. Very William Morris. You are doing quite a bit with the William Morris color palette. I mean, definitely the paprikas, definitely the blues, definitely the greens. Not necessarily in the same piece, but it is like a composite palette of the colors that he would go to. Very high Victorian decoration, beautiful colors. A lot of colors that aren't typical Victorian colors, and that's the lighter colors like the yellowy kind of sunflower color and the coral color. It makes it really glow, doesn't it? And the very light values of the blue. It looks like a really complicated piece, but just like we said earlier, right, with Melinda's piece, it's like bite-sized pieces, right? When you take on a piece like this, you just do it as you go along. You try to do symmetrical stuff together at the same time before you forget how you're doing it. So you want to be careful about balance, but you just one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, because it is an overwhelming pattern to look at. But all of the lines are there. It's very tidily done. It's a beautiful pattern. It's a great tribute to William Morris. It is absolutely glorious. It glows. It actually glows. It's a little bit more of a closer up view. It is an ambitious piece. If you are a beginner and you're thinking, I can't see myself doing that, this is definitely one of the more difficult pieces I have seen, period, right? Just period. And it could be hooked in so very many kinds of ways, right? Color wise, in terms of shading, in terms of flatness, there are so many ways that you could hook this. So if you're a beginner and you're watching this and you're thinking, I could never do anything like this, try not to think like that, right? Size wise, it's a big project. It could feel overwhelming, but we all hook things literally one loop at a time. And it's just a matter of getting some traction going, making good decisions about color or getting help with color planning. It is a busy design. Andrea is going to have her hands full, literally hooking this. And Andrea, I know you are up for the challenge, you gorgeous thing. You are going to hit this out of the park. This just is so, it's just so you, right? It's just so beautiful. It's so artsy. It's so elegant and classy. It's you. And I can't wait to see it. So make sure that you send us more photographs as you keep going. But man, you are off to a good start. The border looks so tricky to me. I'll be so curious to see how you complete it. I know you got this. You've obviously got this. It's absolutely beautiful. Really well done. Can't wait to see you again, Andrea. Linda B. Oh my gosh, this made me smile when I opened this up. This is a design by Crow Creek Farm. Hooked on linen with repurposed clothing. Enjoyed using plaids and wool ease chunky yarn for the sheep's body. Wool ease. Oh, that's a good one. They wool ease. Gosh, I feel like I've seen that. I think that is in one of my local stores here. Good and chunky. And when you use yarns like that, whether they are wool or blend or 100% acrylic, with those nice chunky yarns, if they're soft enough, you can get so much done in such a short time. It's so gratifying to be able to hook so fast, right? I hope that it went very fast for you, Linda. It is so adorable. For the eyes, you made buttons with sparkly white yarn. Okay, so the whites of the eyes is the white sparkly yarn, and the dark part are buttons. That makes a lot of sense because it gives them a little bit of a glow too. And they're perfectly round, which helps. The round eyes, the round body, just the posture of this sheep is just so adorable. And like the lamb's tongues hanging down, almost like pennant flags, like a not a streamer, but like a garland. That's it, a garland of pennants. You are not too late. I can always pull this off. I just love the shapes in this. I love the shape of the sheep's head. It reminds me a little bit of Shaun the Sheep, the cartoon. I love the shape of the sunflowers with the colorful middles. Linda, I think that's such a great inspiration. There's so much movement in this. It's a great primitive piece, but there's so much movement. The centers of the flowers are exciting. The centers of the lamb's tongues coming down like a garland are exciting for me. And the pattern in the grass is also exciting for me because it's almost like the grass recedes, like the lightness is in the front. It's almost like the grass recedes to the distance and the darkness. I just love the colors. I love the patterning that happened from the wool ease yarn, and all of those incidents of not solids, which is basically almost everything is not solid, right? That's one of the great things about primitives. Sometimes you're using patterned wools and modeled wools, and you end up getting so much movement in every part of the composition. It really is such a good piece, such an exciting piece, Linda. I just love it. Really well done. And Kelly, so this is where I put Tom. I am so sorry about that. I had Tom in two different places. And you wrote, Kelly, your middle name, Leah, is also my middle name, spelled the same way. I love that. Happy New Year, you busy girl. You're amazing. This is Kelly writing to me. I catch every show and enjoy you so much. It's hard for me to catch you live, but I'm going to try to schedule you in on Friday for you as my date night. I love it when we have our date nights. I was able to get in touch with Shannon. Okay, good. So I already read the rest of that and I got that, and so good. I had to ask Kelly about whether I had this in the show before because it looked familiar. I must be like dreaming things. I'm so crazy. But this beautiful native Tom pillow is similar conversation to the conversation we had earlier about the envelope pillow, the piece that Michelle Holler did, right, for the lead singer of Blue October with the bee on it. Kelly has had the same great idea, finished the rug, right? Finish the hooking of native tom. So this is one of my patterns. Kelly, I love the colors that you did. It's completely different than my colors. I think it's so, I just love it. It's so much lighter. My colors are very, very dark, kind of Native American palette. And I loved it, but this, because I've only seen my colors as a kit, I love how different this is. It like feels so free and lyrical and loose and sketchbooky. I just love the vibe of it. It's got a great vibe. You really did a great job here. I really want to emphasize you did a great job. And you're very smart to attach it to a pillow that's already ready, because you save yourself the grief and aggravation, the G and A. You save yourself. Just attach it to a pillow and Bob's your uncle. And in this case, you attached it and you sewed between the pillow and the rug a pretty little trim, like a nice kind of small pom-pom or loopy trim. And it looks so professional. It looks like something in a store, except it's better, right? Because it has that great colorful, sketchy quality to it, sketchbook quality to it. It's really beautiful. It really is beautiful. And you did such a good job. Super well done. I love both of the things. The Sussex house, the Doc Martin house, and Native Tom are both so beautiful. Okay, hold on just a second. Ooh, Susan just logged off. Oh, she just logged off before I got to her thing. So Susan is working on this frog. Hello. She is working on this frog. I'm going to show it to you. I don't have the details, and I'm so sad that I just missed her. Running a little bit late, as we often do, because my mouth runs. Sorry about that. This is a close-up of the frog. Let me first show you. Oop. Oh, no, don't tell me I put the same piece in. Oh, no, did I put the same one in twice? Oh, no, hang on. Please don't tell me I did that. Oh, no, I did do that. Shoot. Oh, damn. I'm going to have to put it into the next show, too. I want to show it to you again because I put the same photo in twice, and Susan sent me a second photo that was panned back a bit. And what you could see was that the border of it, because she outlined the border like a puzzle maker, and it's like color changing. Like she keeps changing the color strips. So it goes like brown, 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 blue, 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 olive, 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 rust, rust, rust. And it's so cool because they're not like regularly spaced. It's just that border around. I bet she's going to finish it off and we're going to see it for the next gallery night, or at least we'll see the progress for the next gallery night. But Susan, it's great to see you working on this project. It's such a great project. It looks like you're sketching this. Are you sketching this? This is an amazing piece. I love the circle of his eye. Look at how well done his eye is, right? And the little touches on the tips of his nose, the little color changes in his fingers. Do frogs have fingers? I mean, it's just, the color-wise, it's just amazing. It's not like uber realistic, but there's so much realism. You're walking this perfect balance beam between realism and graphic perfection, right? Lots of color change that really is creating shadow and light, but you're doing it in a really difficult graphic style, and you're killing it. So I can't wait to see it go further. But so far, it looks like you've got the hard part done. To me, the eye would be the hard part, to get that kind of sort of intelligence and mystery into that big dinner plate of an eye. But you have. I'll be so curious to see how the rest goes. It's absolutely gorgeous. All right, let me see. Do I have anything else? Yes, April sent something adorable. April, you found this. This is something that you got on Etsy from S. Yoder Crafts. And S. Yoder is Shannon Yoder. This is a needle felted piece. Sharon Yoder is in Scottsdale, Pennsylvania. This little felted piece, and this is our last item of the night, is only 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And again, it is needle felted. This is an artist trading card size. Now, this is such a cool thing to send because not only is it adorable, but it does open up the conversation to us. I mean, we're working on our Casswell Carpet Challenge now, but I do know that quilters have done a lot of exchanges that have to do with postcards. You know, there's at least 2 quilt books on quilted postcards. And I've got both of them. I love looking through them because it's like this little bite size, postcard size tiny quilt. And it's remarkable and surprising how much each person gets, right? They get collage with letters and mixed media and sewing on beads, and always so interesting. And this is even smaller, 2.5 by 3.5. I'm holding my fingers out now. That's really small. It's an interesting thing to think about doing, like trading cards, isn't it? I could really get into that. It'd be so cool to do like collect, somehow come up with some kind of a challenge or something fun within the group to do some kind of, I mean, how could you do it? It couldn't be like a cookie swap, right? Because, for example, if you were doing a cookie swap, you would need to make X amount of each one. So each person could have one of each. That could be hard in our group. Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it while well, I'm so sorry. I hope I'm not like this all the time. I hope I can, at some point sleep. Just it's been going on for so long. I'm just thinking, I wonder if we could ever do something like, what if there were what if like a lot of people wanted to do it? Let's say like 100 people wanted to do it. Wonder if we could go into groups of, I don't know, 10. That might even be too much. I was just thinking if everybody did one of their thing, then every other person could get it, and then you could maybe piece it together or something and have some cool collection. I just love the idea of swapping cards. I know it's a lot of work, but it just seems like such a neat idea. Very sweet. April, thanks for sending that. That was really a lot of fun. Um, Little hug rugs. Ooh, Melissa, I love that, little hug rugs. That is smart. Okay, let me catch up on this. Let's see. Ooh, it would be fun. So much fun. They would be fun to trade. See, doing an exchange is one thing. Like we've done exchanges before. We haven't done one lately. That kind of morphed into the group project. Doing exchanges is fun, but I know there was always stress of like, um, I think I did one or two, always stressful, kind of stalking somebody's Facebook page for me who I don't know and try to get a feel for what they like. And then if we don't like the same things, it would be like a little bit harder because it's like, ooh, am I doing something with like this kind of theme or that kind of theme? That's kind of outside my wheelhouse, but okay, let's go. Um, it, like I found it hard to do swaps for one person. I felt like you were either lucky or unlucky with that. I would almost find it easier to do a bunch of tiny things for a bunch of people and not have to like focus on like one person and try to bend over backward to be sure that that person liked the subject of the thing that you gave. Do you know what I mean? I love that idea too. Sorry, wrong glasses. Um, okay, in leather tooling groups, we do four. Oh, Laura, what? You do 4x4 coasters. Oh, wow. I'm thinking that now, Laura, what kind of size of the group? How many people participate? How many coasters at 4x4 do you typically do? Like, I'm just wondering what people would think would be a normal number to have to do without feeling miserable and overextended. Do you know what I mean? I do love this idea, though. I do love this idea. I would love to try to make this work. We did artist trading cards when I taught art. Okay, Sage Gardens, you have some experience with the artist trading cards. So this is not a new idea. I just don't know this idea. April says, I swap with Judy's group 4x6 postcard size rug hookings 4 times a year. Oh, Judy, my Judy Taylor. Oh, that's so cool. Does she do that through, I'm assuming it's Judy Taylor, does she do that through Rug Hooking Daily? I can sort of picture that now. It's a swap. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it's a swap, a one-on-one. Yeah, okay. So you pick a person and you swap. Yeah, that's really interesting. Though I feel like the way to get around the problem of worrying that you're giving someone something that they're not going to like. I mean, we all have that, right? We're all, I think, a little bit crazy and paranoid, and I always worry about stuff like that, even with real gifts, in real life. But I suppose one way to get around it would be to kind of theme it out and say like, let's do a swap. Like, let's say we're doing a swap, trading card size or postcard size or whatever, and say like it has to be geometric, or it has to be, I don't know, something with glasses. I don't know. Let's think about it and talk about it. And as usual, if you think of some good ideas for swaps, I would love to hear them. I mean, God knows we have enough on our plates, but we can really. I mean, I can never have enough on my plate. Like literally, I never can, and that's why I have to lose weight now. But we should think about this and evolve this idea because this could be really a lot of fun for us. I love getting little things too, and that size is just precious. What if it was kept exactly, Laura? And that's what gave me the idea was when you said that the ones you do are tooled. I'm thinking, I'm picturing like florals, like classic leather tooling kind of designs. Um, yeah, that's really a good idea. What would some cool themes be? You know, different themes, like not maybe like flowers, maybe like I don't know, constellations. Maybe that's too tricky. That's too tricky. That's not universal. Birds. Um, we should think about this. Could be really fun and funny to do something like that. Candy. I don't know. Let's think about it. Let's think about it. I'm gonna go sit down for a while and do some hooking because I am my brain is fried. It's through Raw Cooking Daily. Oh, excellent. Good. Judy Taylor's group. You just pick a person and swap. And I guess the picking is like generated, right? Like, so it's kind of anonymous. It's not like I pick you. Um, Interesting. I like the idea. Bees. Damn, I wish I would have thought of that before this issue. Oh, oh my God. Oh my God. Sage Gardens, you are a genius. Okay, so bees. It's too late for bees from Magpie, right? Because the deadline for, and I know that's not what you meant anyway, but okay, so let's think forward to the next Magpie Times magazine because the bee issue is due on February 1st. Okay, so I'll remind you the issue for the next Magpie Times magazine, it will be the summer issue. Be still. It'll be the summer issue, and the theme is Wish You Were Here vacation postcards. Do you see what I'm saying? Because now I'm thinking about those quilt postcards, and they were the size of postcards. Should we do it? Should we do a wish you were here like exchange? Oh my God, I got it. I got it. What if we did a wish you were here post you might if you hate this idea just say it. You don't have to like it just because it came out of my mouth and I'm excited. What if we did a wish you were here postcard exchange and you got someone's name and you had to hook them a postcard size postcard that's something about where you're from. And then maybe you send a little letter, just like, X amount of words to say, this is where I'm from. So I send one from where I'm from, and would be Hamden, Connecticut, like the armpit of the universe. But I would think of something nice to say. Oh, there's a nice covered bridge in town, and here's a picture of the covered bridge. Could that be something? Because then we could turn that challenge into a feature for Magpie Times magazine. That would fit right into that. Okay. All right. Oh, if they were somewhat seasoned, I might feature them. Yep. Okay. I think we're there. Okay. Good. Yes, we did it. Okay. Good job. That's us at our best collaborating. Isn't that great? That feels great. Great job, everybody. We got there in the end. Let's do it. Let's do that. So let's give the shout out. Hey, does anybody want to be in charge of that challenge? Seriously, does anybody want to be in charge of that one? Um, oh, I will. I will. Sharon Yoder, right? I will definitely check out her stuff on Etsy, April. That was such a beautiful piece. Pam likes this idea too. Sage Garden says I had kids do a watercolor postcard of a place they went, a place that they live, a place they wanted to go. Oh, I see. Like all three. Yeah, that would be a fun thing. That's a very dreamy thing. Should it be like the place that you're from, or should it be like your favorite place or like your vacation place? What do you think? It just seems like it'd be cool if it was like getting a piece of mail from somewhere, like some actual place. Does anybody, if anybody wants to be in charge of it, I know I don't have the time, but I would love it if somebody would like to take this over. Um, Oh, Tigger had a trading cards group. Oh, interesting. And Laura says maybe do a hat draw for pairs. Yep, definitely want to do a hat draw for the pairs, without a doubt. I think with something like this, For the Casswell carpet right now, Jeannie Coates has got this separate Facebook page. I know not everybody's on Facebook, and who knows how long we'll be on there. I would hate to lose like the largest rug hooking group that it has taken me these years to grow. Let's hope everything is fine for now. I love being on there, and I love our group, and I love meeting you all on there like during the day. I need that. But Jeannie Coates has a separate group for the Casswell carpet, and I think that might be a good call with this project too, just so people can find it and share progress or materials or even little videos of working on it. If you are interested in doing the admin for this project, it's not a full-time job. It's not even a part-time job. It's just another thing that I'm afraid I don't have the time for, but I really want to do it. So if you feel like you might want to do it, please send me a message. And if a couple of people want to do it, I'll set up the page and you can just admin it together and answer questions for people. And as soon as if one person comes in and is waiting for a match, as soon as the next person comes, there's their match. And there would be a hard end date to it because of the end date for Magpie Time. So it would have to be like we could start like next week if we wanted to, and say, so if this Magpie was due February 1st, so it would be due on May 1st. Everything would have to be done and sent in, and obviously earlier is a little bit better. But that's quite a long time, right? That's quite a long time. All right. Well, hey, everybody, send me a message if you feel like you would want to deal with that. It's not going to be stressful. I promise you, it's just going to be a question of keeping the list, matching people up, and answering people when they write, and say I forgot who my person is and yada yada, stuff like that. Right? It's that. Um, Thank you, Sage Gardens. Will you send me an email too, so I can write right back to you on that, and let me know if you want help. If you feel like you got it, great. If you feel like you want help, let me know because I can give some shout outs. These projects usually are not like overwhelming. Honest to God, they're not. I just can't answer extra emails in a day at this moment. Yes, and where you are from would be cool. Yeah, I think where you're from would be cool because that's a great way to get to know each other too. What a great feature. What a great feature. Thank you so much for this idea. Holy mackerel. This is great for that issue of Magpie 2, Wish You Were Here, because then we're getting to know each other in each other's places, and it gives you an opportunity, if you're making a card, to think about what about where you're from, that you would want to show on the card. Oh, it's such a good idea. Thank you so much. I'm very excited about this. This is very, very good. And now we have our theme cemented for the next Magpie Times. I love this too. I'm going to be thinking about this in bed when I wake up and I start thinking, oh, I wonder if I have cancer. And instead I'm going to think, what am I going to put on my postcard? Isn't that better? All right. Well, hey, thank you, everybody. I'm going to go hook for a few minutes. I would love to do a swap. Jessica says, I love vacation postcards. It's a great idea. It's a great idea. It could be one of those things. One more thought. It could be one of those things that, like, if it works out well, which I assume it will, I assume quite a few people will want to do it because it's also tied to Magpie Times. We could even take it a step further and say, I think I've mentioned this before, but I don't think everybody knows this. At Sauter Village, right, big rug hooking show every August in Ohio. At Sauter Village, there are the main gallery shows, and there's a handful of people who have those, right? So this coming year, I have a gallery show, right? And if you have been working with me on the Haunted Rug, or you will work with me on the Mystic Carpet Halloween books, there's a good chance you'll be in that show. So there are like the main gallery shows, but this is what some people don't know. Everybody is entitled to submit an idea for a small display. And all of the small displays, right, they're still there, right? They're no less there at Sauter. They're still there at Sauter. I believe Autumn said the requirement for a small display at Sauter Village is that 6 people were involved in the project. Now, hey, if we do this and it turns out to be a great project, I'm already set for this year. No, I'm not. I was going to say I'm already set for Magpie Times. I'm set for Tigger. I'm set for the Tigger display. It's going to be Colleen's A Rising Tide. but I'm planning to have a magpie table too, as far as I know. Let me double check with Autumn that I'm getting a magpie display to display the magazine. And if that were the case, we could use something like this there. Let me double check with Autumn to be sure that I am getting that. I'm sure we talked about that though. But you see what I mean? Like when we do these challenges in general, there's definitely more than 6 people involved. There's always the possibility of being able to take something like this to somewhere like Solder or Tigger, and to be able to display it and also have it in Magpie Times magazine. Lots of things to think about, lots of ways to share our work. All right, happy weekend, everybody. It's a really great idea. I'm so happy about that. Hey, I loved being with all of you tonight. This was great. The work was beautiful tonight, as always. You all are doing such great work. I am going to go and finish up my piece on depression for Shannon, my piece called Dumpster Fire. I haven't shown it at all yet. You'll see it come out in her book, which she's putting together right now. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll be sending a newsletter out and be looking for the Monday show on Monday. My friend Jeannie Crockett sent me a bunch of pictures from the rug show at the library in New Hampshire that's been on my chalkboard all this time. I just didn't make it up there. I just didn't. I couldn't do another trip that was like 3+ hours in the time that it was open, and I feel awful. But Jeannie took some beautiful pictures for me. So we will look at that rug show on Monday together. I will be with you at noon Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, have a great weekend, everybody. Um, Thanks, Joe. Lots of great ideas. Thumbs up, like, subscribe. Patreon members, I owe you a message. You'll get one really soon. I'm still coming out of the Louise May Alcott stuff and all of that crazy pattern making. Patreon members, huge shout out and thank you for the extra support for us being here together on this channel. Have a great weekend to you too, Pam. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just so hope that I can sleep and be well and just feel normal because I have so many ideas and I want them all to happen. And I don't want to spend time laying in bed being half asleep, wasting time when I could be up like a fireball working on stuff that we can talk about and enjoy. And yeah, it's just not how I want to spend my time being like you're trying to fall back to sleep. So thank you so much, Pam. I will see you all Monday. Take care, everybody. Have a great and safe